very good evening, everybody. Once again from the flight deck. Welcome to another session of Pilot's Life with Captain Nab. Sorry, I've literally just sat down here trying to get this started, reading the notes here, and Squibbly, I'm sorry that you won't be able to keep your eyes long enough to do this flight. It is a little bit of a long flight today. It is going to be about 3 hours of airtime from Burbank, California, over to DFW. There it is. Back to Dallas-Fort Worth, back to our home base. It is a little bit of a long flight. It's not terribly long, but it's long enough. You definitely have to be committed to it. I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling well. I hope you feel better soon. I have been feeling a little under the weather myself lately. Not terribly, but just a little bit. So just saw somebody departing there. There goes Spirit, I think. Like a Spirit going across the network there. Nice. I just want to say I'm sorry. I hope you do feel better soon. And we will hopefully catch you on the next stream we do. What can I say? I'm going to try and get this done tonight because it's going to be a bit of a long one. This is the only opportunity I really have to do it this week. So you're welcome to watch as long as you can keep yourself awake, and we'll get to it. But we are going to go do this Burbank to Dallas-Fort Worth return flight. I backed the time back about 3 hours in my sim just to sort of make sure it's not going to be too, what's the word I'm looking for? Not going to be too dark in Dallas by the time we get there. It's not that I hate night flying, it's that I hate night streaming. I don't like night streaming, I just don't think it looks very good. So, And I just realized I don't have myself here either. There we are. I apologize to everyone for the slight delay here. There was a little bit of a little bit of excitement in my house just in the last 5 minutes. I was about to go downstairs, and I'm like, what is my cat chasing? It turns out that I don't know where it came from, but there was a mouse in the house, and the cat was chasing it around, so I had to go and catch the mouse and take it aside. So he was doing a good job of catching it. He just was not doing a very good job of doing anything else with it. Picked it up and walked around proudly, and then put it back down and chased it some more. So I had to kind of resolve that situation. So I apologize. I had a little excitement, guys. But welcome to the stream. We're going to try and get this underway pretty quickly. I believe that must be you there. Nuclear jet behind me there in the American paint scheme. So at least I've got some company. Again, I'm sorry, Squibbly can't do it. I was really kind of looking forward to having a flight with you, but if you're not feeling up to it, I totally understand. I mean, I got home last night. I was so unbelievably wiped, and even when I got home today, I was a little bit wiped. Fortunately, my good friend Coca-Cola has helped render me a little bit more conscious again. But I was feeling really, really wiped when I got home, but I'm feeling a lot better now with a little bit of extra caffeine in the system. So I sympathize anyway. So get some rest, feel better, watch us for as long as you can, and we're going to get this underway. So we are in beautiful sunny Burbank, California today. It's a beautiful day, it's the let's see here, it's the Orbex scenery, the Orbex version 2 actually. So this was a free upgrade for anyone who had Orbex scenery, and it really looks, and I thought version 1 looked pretty good too. I didn't do a very close comparison of them, but boy, it does look really good. The one thing about Burbank is there's no jetways, and I didn't really realize this when I was flying here before. So I had my self-loading cargo going, and couldn't do anything when I got to Burbank. It wouldn't unload because it wouldn't recognize that there was a jet bridge attached, which is the only way self-loading cargo knows that you've gotten anywhere. So it's a little frustrating. So today we're going to do something a little different. We are actually going to use PAC-X, which is something that I have not used very much. It's along a similar line. I don't know why. I never really got into it. I thought self-loading cargo was a little bit more interactive, I thought, so I kind of liked it a bit more. And, I know why it won't connect, because I don't have FSU IP3 running, because I ran the sim once, and I forgot to start my track IR before I started the sim, so so there we go. So here we go. There we go. Here comes PAC-X. So I've got PAC-X running here. They're going to start boarding. They are boarding, I believe, right now. Yes, here come the first couple people. For some reason, they board from the back in this airplane and the front. Anyways. So today we've got an open ramp operation, and the other thing that's also going to throw some interest up here, and I realize I don't have my overlay going properly, but this should solve that problem, is that we still have an in-op APU. Our APU still does not work, which is going to just add a little bit more time and a little bit more interest. It's not that the APU does not work. Actually, the APU does work. What's in-op is the APU bleeds. So we can't start the engines, but we do get electrical power from the APU. So Anyways, looks like we are boarding for Pack X, and now the overlay does look like it's working. I don't even know. I honestly don't. I just literally just sitting down, pull this up, and let's see here what we've got here. We do have some ATC today, at least by the looks of it. Albuquerque Center's online. Fort Worth Center was also online. I don't know if they'll still be there when we get there. 150 at 9. I mean, we could do runway 15 for departure. I think it's 15 or 12 or something like that. I don't even have the charts up here, but let's have a quick look just to answer your question. Let's see here, flights. And yeah, I've got the flight already here. What I need to know is just the runway number. Yeah, runway 15 would probably work really well for that light wind. Assuming that we have a SID that's valid off of 15 here. See, we have the SLAP 2 RNAV departure. And it doesn't matter yet. It'll depart all 4 runways. So yeah, I'm going to plan departure off 15. It puts us most into the wind. I think it's actually a little bit longer than 08. So yeah, that's my plan. All right, anywho, let's quickly flow through this and make sure everything is set up because the last crew did secure the aircraft. So we just need to go through. The airplane's powered up when we got here. But we just don't have, yeah, they secured it, so they turned off stuff like the yaw damper and the emergency lights and all that other stuff. So just make sure that everything we need is on here. Yeah, everything appears to be on normal. Seatbelts are off right now. We're actually going to have to go and fuel it in just a second here. So let me just because as you guys saw, the fueler is here. He's waiting for us to give him a fuel order. Let's get those window heats on and heating. Let's get the packs to auto. The AP bleed has to stay off the whole day, and at least we have the nav lights on. Okay, so let's do this really quickly. Let's just get this thing to start loading some fuel for us, because we're going to need some gas. Where's my sim brief flight plan? Sim brief, thank you. 26.7. It's a pretty big load here. Not quite as much we need to get out here, but still quite a lot. So I'm going to do 26.8, round it up a little bit here. Fuel, where's fuel? There it is, 26.8, 26,800. Start fueling it, please. Thank you. All right, there it goes. It's fueling. That's one of the biggest things that's going to take some time to do. Other than that, we can get into our FMS and start setting up here for departure. All right. Let's have a quick look over here. All right, we need to set our IRS position because the IRSs were turned off. So let's grab a GPS position from page 2, paste that over, boom, done. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to bring up my flight plan here and just drag it over onto the onto the stream window here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my tablet. Got my AviaWorx MCDU ready to go. At least it should be ready to go. Why is it not? Why does it look like the CDUs are blank? Something's not right. Pardon me for 1 second. Oh, and you know what? I think, oh, it's not going to work. Ah, poo. Pardon my French. Actually, I read this. We had AviaWorx sent out an email just like 2 days ago, and I remember reading it now, that said that with the latest update to the PMDG 737, it broke something with their data broadcasting, so the AviaWorx MCDU does not work with the 737 anymore. So much for that. I guess we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm going to have to drag this on my 2 screens. So the flight plan here is the SLAP 2 Hek Eid Zun TXO Turkey and the Joven 4 for DFW. So I'm going to drag this over here, and I'm going to read off the other flight plan while I type in here. I always put a C. I don't know why I have that habit of putting in C first. Where would that come from? Not like I do it all the time on other FMSs. All right, DFW, our American 2599 is our flight today. And we're going to do departure SLAP 2 off of runway 15, and we're doing the HEC transition. There we go. EED ZUN, so EED, just a bunch of direct waypoints here. ZUN, TXO, and Turkey for the Joven 4. Not too many waypoints today. It's not going to take me too long to program this in. It's going to probably take longer to load the airplane than it will for me to get this all set up here. Then we do the Joven 4 arrival to DFW, planning 36 left. So planning 36 left. And we're going to plan the Joven 4 arrival. And it's the Turkey transition. Beauty. It's all there. We're going to activate and execute that and set up our performance. Page 3 really quickly here. So today we're looking at a ZFW of 122.6. And back to my page 1 for my fuel stuff here. So our reserves to go to Houston from Dallas is going to be 7,000 kilograms. Why do my ZFW not takes? I didn't even look to see that it took. I don't know why it didn't take. 122.6 ZFW. Too high? Every once in a while this defaults to a 737-800. That's why it defaults to a 737-800. So my flight plan is slightly off. What we could do is we'll just actually do this. We'll just grab the actual ZFW. All right, and so cost index today of 80. We want to go pretty fast. It's a later evening flight. It's a 3-hour flight. We'd like to get it done in less than 3 hours. Altitude of 35,000. Cruise wind at altitude is 290 at 17. At 17, there we go. And execute that. And one limit. Where's my planner here? So, what did I say for fuel? 26.8, I think. Is that what I had? Yeah, 26.8. So we're going to put that in the plan. Fuel here. So it's going to give us a gross weight of 142,500. Let's get a number. For a takeoff weight of 142,500 from Burbank on runway 15. And the temperature and altimeter. Temperature is 36,2993. 36,2993. Let's do a flap 15 takeoff. Let's see if we can do takeoff 2. 142,500. For some reason it cleared it out, but there we go. Calculate. Weight's too high for takeoff 2. How about takeoff 1? Weight's too high for takeoff 1. I guess we need a full power takeoff with a D rate of 40, or with a assumed temperature of 45. So, N1 limit.
On behalf of the cabin crew, I'd like to welcome you aboard our flight. As you find your seat,
so 45 is the temperature. It's takeoff with no D rate. We're doing a flap 15 takeoff. And the speeds 27, 27, and 31, and the FMC is all set. And hopefully this should finish aligning soon here. Alright, so speed 131 with the flap 15 takeoff. Oh no! Oh, I hate you. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
Please make sure that you are able and
willing to perform the I can't do this. I can't do this with this stupid...
Feel free to use your cell phone.
We have to restart the, reload the airplane and hope that it works better. You don't even know until you're like 15 minutes in, because you have to wait for the IRS to align. Okay, the one thing I'm going to try, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try this here. Yeah, let's do it this way. So let's do this. So we're going to go menu, PMDG. We're going to try and save the panel as it is so I can start from here instead of having to start over, because really... Wait. Why did it just do that? And why am I suspicious that that's going to survive and work? Now comes the captain's decision. Do I reload? Do I reset the airplane? Alright, I'm saving my panel state. Okay. Do I want to see if we can get this going? Okay, it seems to want to be okay here. I don't know. Alright, I guess we'll go with it. I hope it works. That it's weird that it wasn't working and then it just sort of clicked in there. I feel like it's going to come back to hunt me again, but Okay. I guess we'll carry on. Okay, fine. Carrying on. All right, let's flow through the overhead panel again, make sure everything is where it should be. The yaw damper's on. Everything is the normal and auto position. And what we can do, no, we can't do it yet. We can't start the APU because we're fueling. But we can check the electrical panel. Everything looks good on the electrical panel. Drives are in. Ground power is on. And let's see here. Again, equipment cooling is all normal. Everything's auto. We switched the ignition systems, the windshield heat. It's getting there. It's almost heated up. The first segment's heated up. I hope the rest of these are going to heat up. I don't know what's going on with this here. It should usually be heated up within a couple minutes, especially if it's this warm outside. There should be no problem heating up those windows. I don't know if this is a update issue, if this is a light issue, if this is the sim is just disagreeing with me. Oh man. Everything's on overheat now. Okay, I gotta carry on here for another couple minutes here and see what else it says. 35,000 feet. Let's go right for DFW. Trying to remember if, even if it's overheating, it should just, they should shut themselves off, but it should say, it should still leave the on light. All right. Window heat. Okay. So the one thing it says here in the QRH for this is if the, yeah, they're all on overheat right now, which kind of makes sense given the temperature. All right, so what it says we can do is turn them all off again, wait 2 to 5 minutes, and then turn them back on again. So that's what we're going to do here. We are going to start a timer here, see what happens. Oh, I feel like I feel like this is going to be one of those days where nothing really works the way it's supposed to. All right. Let's see, you just need a top altitude for this departure. It's all the way up to flight level 230. And the initial heading, it's a right turn heading 210. Alright, so it's a right turn heading 210, but let's just find the departure heading for 155. Okay, so 155. Alright, we're going to try this. I hope it works, because I'm going to get very annoyed if this doesn't start to work. This thing seems to have fixed itself. I hope it stays that way. There's 230 set for the top altitude. Alright, and yeah, we've got our flight director on. It's already the master. Just adjust our altimeter setting here, 2993. It's all we need. Too far, 2993. Test all my lights. Test all my lights. Alright. Let's see here. We never reset that for after our landing last time, so there we go. We got RTO selected. Oil quantity's okay. Hydraulic system quantity's okay. GPWS is okay. Parking brake is on. Just do a quick test. I'll stay at the APU here in a second because the fueling is done, so I can release the fuel truck. Get Unicom up there while I'm looking. 2000 I've got set. That should be on standby for now. And test the cargo. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's just turn these on again here. Make sure they come up eventually. And you. I knew you were gonna do it again. I can't fly like this. I just can't. Oh my god.
We are ready to go when you are.
Yeah, I bet you are. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna have to restart this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard flight 25.
Now that I've done a few more things, I'm just gonna save it one more time, and we're gonna try a quick reboot. If this does not work, I'm gonna have to just pull the plug for the night because it's already getting late. I really don't have a lot of time to be resetting the sim a second time.
Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in full
Your
upright
calculations tell me
position
you're too
before
heavy. Start
departure.
throwing people overboard.
Passengers,
It's not a long runway here in
across
Burbank.
deck,
It's
their
hot,
flight straps and stand
and there's lots of high terrain relatively close to the airport, so it's not a good place to be. So, okay, so we are going to unload this, and then we're going to try reloading it. Hopefully, this doesn't take too long. I'm gonna try it without restarting the sim. So we're going to try this first without restarting the sim. See if we can get this to work. These are better failures than the ones PMDG normally offers. Yeah, maybe they are. They're certainly making me work harder. It's the sort of thing that does come up, like, you know, you get the windshield heat won't start up properly, like airplanes that don't, for whatever reason, the system will not start properly. Um, yeah, that's where you end up sometimes with a very challenging day where you're trying to figure out how the system works and if the system can be reset. And see, the only checklist I have here really is the one for if you have a Windows heat off light. So some of the airplanes, you have an indicator when the heat is off. Some of them you have an indicator when the heat is on. This one that we've got today, it has an indicator when the heat is on. All right, so just gonna check this out, and what I want to do is turn on instant align. I want to see it instantly. It's not particularly realistic. I don't really like it, but I'm not going to waste time on this. Let's see here. Might be under simulation even. Options for simulation. Realistic autopilot engagement. There's got to be somewhere. There's got to be like a realistic versus instant. IRS alignment. And I have no idea where it is. So if anyone knows, help me out. Because I'm not going to even bother loading this until I have an instant IRS alignment turned on. See, I feel like it should be, this is like optional equipment. I feel like it really should be here under simulation options, either performance or simulation options. No, it's probably under simulation options somewhere. Service-based failures, engine oil last used, standby. It's got about engagement, shows us out. Airspeed live, call out V1, V2, call out positive rate, pause top drop, auto time compression, enable autopilot disconnect on control input, high captain seat, no, captain's yoke, loaded, no, ready, no, it's not there. It's got to be here somewhere. I'm wasting way too much time on this. Simulation first page. Did I miss it? Options. Simulation. Oh, IRS options. There. Thank you. Okay, we're just going to do instant. I don't really like it, but for the sake of what we're trying to do here. I want to see instantly if this thing is going to work or not. Alright, so the IRSs are in nav. The windshield heat all appears to be on in a normal fashion right now, so that's good. While we're sitting here waiting, I might just start throwing the APU on. PACX is completely screwed up now because it thinks we're diverting because I unloaded the sim and it went back to 0, as our position, so it has no idea where we are or what we're doing, so I might just give up on PACX as well. Ah, my gosh, it's taking way too long. You ever have one of those nights where you're just wondering if this is something you should be doing? All right, come on. Show me a nice, fully realized attitude indicator here. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. See, it's still got my timer going, so it did a good job. Like, I have to say, like, this loading and saving panel state thing, it does a pretty good job in terms of saving almost all the variables. One of the few things that I've noticed it never seems to save is the radio frequency. It always defaults back to this 24 and 2485 frequency every time it loads. Never defaults to anything else for those ones. Just waiting for these screens to actually come up. All right, looks good. Maybe we can actually get going. Because it's just trying to get to one of those nights really quickly here. All right, let's reconnect to VATSIM. Should need to refile because we've only been off for about 3 or 4 minutes there. Looks like the windshield heat's working, so we called maintenance. They got us to cycle it again. They said, yeah, if it comes on. It's gone off, but it is 30 degrees out there. So the fact that they're all off and they were on before makes me think that they have shut themselves off to prevent an overheat. So we're going to go for it here. Yeah. I mean, we can run this, but it's not going to really do us much good until we actually get this going here. So, I think I got everything done. So let's do the pre-flight checklist here. First of all, oxygen is tested at 100%. Navigation, transfer, display switches are all normal and auto, and window heat is struggling to try and come on. Pressurization mode selector is auto. Flight instruments, we've got heading 189 and altimeter 2993. Parking brake is set and the engine start levers are cut off. Pre-flight checklist is complete. So if this were really happening, I would definitely talk to maintenance and find out what's going on here. The other option I would have is to go into my actual aircraft operating manual and read about this and try and figure out if this is supposed to be a normal behavior. And it's the way it's cycling different ones on and off. So I think it's just cutting them off because they're getting too hot. But I'm gonna have to read and make sure that is a thing. But we're gonna do that en route. I would do that before we depart, but let's get underway and then we can read a little bit more about it en route. So let's get this APU generator online here. We got that. Alright, we can tell them to remove the ground power. Alright, so I think we're starting to get ready here. We just need... You guys can release the ground power, keep the air conditioning unit going, and we're going to need to start one at the gate here. We are going to need to do a briefing here. I feel like...
Southwest 34.
Feel like I'm behind the 8 ball here, just trying to get caught up. So, it's funny enough. Like this is the life of the airline pilot these days. You're always behind.
Departing runway 25, right, south departure, LAX traffic.
All right, so we're going to depart 15. So it's a pretty straightforward taxi. We're going to taxi through the apron. Actually, what we might do is we might cross over to Delta just to get us clear of the other runway, and then Delta Alpha up to runway 15. I don't see any notes about Alpha restricted to aircraft with wingspan of 171 or less. That's fine. We're 138 or less, so we're good for Alpha. So that's fine. We'll taxi up to 15 for departure. Today we're doing the SLAP 2 departure, 10-3 Bravo, effective on the 10th of September 2020. Radars required, RNF1, DME or GPS required, turbojets only, halo transition, ATC assigned only, MISO transition to the aircraft going to Las Vegas. That's not us. So, runway 15, climbing right turn heading 210. So we'll climb to 400 feet AGL. Field elevation here is 778, so 800. So we'll climb to 1200 feet, then it's a right turn heading 210. Top altitude is 230. We've got the heading reset itself for some reason. I believe it was 158. And yeah, expect vectors to rave, then on track 009 to cross SLAP at or above 13,000. Then on transition, maintain flight level 230, expect flight level filed out to 10 minutes after. Alright, so, and the fixes we're going to get are going to be rave above 7,000, SLAP above 13,000, Yappy above 15,000, Jethic, at or below 190, and then we are going to Hector. So B-Byte above 200, and Tlip, and then HEC. So that's all in there. Terrain there is high terrain, especially east and north and east of the field, and even to the south there's a ridge there, but especially north and east, it's a lot of high terrain. So the engine failure procedure is probably to go west up the San Fernando Valley. We're just going to basically vector ourselves to the right and up to rave. Weather is beautiful day, operational, just the aircraft, just the APU MEL, so we're going to get the ground air momentarily, and I'm just trying to think, I think that's about it. NOTAMs, have a quick look at the NOTAM file here. For Burbank, there was not much last time. No, there's very little Burbank, so perfect. Nothing affects our operational, and then yeah, I think that's it. So if nobody has any questions, we'll go ahead and get this ready to go here. I think I'm not sure what PACX wants to do here. It doesn't know what we're doing because it doesn't know where we are. But what we can do is start getting rid of stuff. And because I know what's going to happen here, Pushback Express is not going to work because the engines are going to be started before we try to push back. I am just going to go ahead and use Pushback Helper, which is a much simpler tool, but it does the job nevertheless. So he's going to connect right now. And ground services, you can remove everything except for, actually you can remove everything and get ready for the air start there. So we can release the fuel truck, we can release the stairs, and we can release our baggage loaders. All we're waiting for is the air cart. Alright, so if you're ready, I think we're just about ready here, so we're going to go ahead and do a before start flow here. Just make sure we did get all of our fuel, 26.8. We did get all our fuel in the end. And so we'll leave those off, and yeah, there's no point having that. Oh, naturally we can do the packs off for the cross bleed start. Alright, so packs are going off. Anti-collision light on. Let's do a before start checklist. Alright, before start checklist. Flight deck doors closed and locked. Fuel, we've got 26,800 pounds and the pumps are on. Passenger signs panel is now on. Windows closed. Sorry, windows are locked. MCP, we've got V2 131, heading 158, altitude flight level 230. Takeoff speeds, we've got V1 127, VR 127, V2 131. CDU pre-flight is completed. Rudder and aileron trim are free, and zero taxi and takeoff briefing are complete, and the anti-collision light is on. We are, before start check is complete. We're ready to start engines. And so here we go. Ramp from the flight deck. Are you guys clear for a start of engine 2? Alright, you can go ahead and hook up the ground air. And we do have the packs off is the biggest thing really when you're hooking up ground air, so I believe he's going to do it on this side. So today we're going to do it properly. Last time I did it improperly, I started the same engine the ground air was on. Today we're going to start it properly, so we're going to start the right engine on the ground air. So you can see we have zero duct pressure. We're waiting for that air to come on, waiting to get about 35 PSI, and then we can get going. It's funny, the turn is in here. 55, I can see it there. Alright, so they're hooking it up. We're waiting to see this duct pressure come up. We need to see duct pressure. The engine will not start without it. Here it comes. Alright, we should get at least 30 PSI here. Ooh, we got a good solid 35, 36 PSI there. I like it. Perfect. Alright. Are we clear to start engine 2? Starting engine 2.
Traffic Alaskan 1385, taxiing to runway 24 left via Bravo Kilo Echo.
Looks like we got really good strong pressure. We got really good rotation going on there. 23, 24, 25.
Los Angeles traffic, negative 1 heavy on the unmanned 2 approach for runway 24 right.
Fuel flow.
Currently at the 5 way.
Looks like we do have an increase in EGT. It's slowly increasing. Yeah, there it goes. N2 and N1 are both still increasing. It doesn't look like N2 is increasing too quickly. There's the red line. We got a long way to go. These air card starts, if you're going to have a hot start, it's probably going to be an air card start. Alright, that was the starter cutout, which is perfect. Alright, so you guys are good to remove the air start unit. It won't let me do it until I guess the start cycle finishes here. It says engine inhibit. If I fail to remove the chocks, I'll take the air cart off as well. Here he comes to take the air cart. Boy, this feels like a lot of work. That's the thing about these air cart starts. They're not hard. They're just a bunch of extra steps, which creates a bunch of extra work. It's really, at the end of the day, what it's all about. Alright. Ramp in the flight deck. We're good for brake release pushback whenever you're ready. Still no ATC. No, still no ATC. It's just hooking it up. Go, buddy, go. Go. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. We could probably start to push back anyways. There he goes. Alright. So I'm going to release the brakes. Good to push. My push back. Get some room. I didn't realize you were still right behind me there. It's all good. We'll make it work. We'll just do a long push here at the Delta. Realize you're right there. I do like the classic paint scheme. I'm sure that's not what you actually have loaded, but there's some really neat paint schemes in what's it called? The AI manager. Alright, I'm going to do a long push, so if you want to cross here to get the Delta, you can do it. little bit of adjustment to get me even more on that line. Alright, that's good there. Thank you very much. Push. Parking brakes on. You guys are good to disconnect, and are we clear to start engine 1? He says good to start engine 1. Okay, thank you very much for that. Alright, so in order to start engine 1, we are going to have to get some extra thrust, usually on engine 1, to get us up to at least 35 psi. At least 30 psi. About 40%, 50%, so let's get that start going here. EGT is still pretty warm, probably from the save data from the last flight. All right, not doing too bad. N2 rotations increasing pretty reasonably there. Duct pressure still holding. Duct pressure went a long way down when we actually opened the start valve there. Now look at it, yeah, see, like I gotta bump it up a little more just to get it going here. Alright, there's 25%. Duct pressure's a little better at 20 psi, but she's gonna be a slow start here. Hopefully we don't get a hung start or a hot start. Well, she looks like she's going pretty normally there now too. So temperature's not going up too fast. And she is still accelerating. The thing is, you've got positive acceleration, so as long as your acceleration is going at least as fast as your EGT rise, you're okay. Looks like she's going to be okay. Alright, so I heard the starter cut out, so as soon as I heard the starter cut out, I killed the thrust on engine 1, or engine 2 I should say, and looks like we got a normal start. Perfect. Alright, so generators. Let's see here. Probe heat, hydraulic pumps, packs can go on now. And we can shut off the APU. Set our takeoff flap. Hope that's enough to get to 15. There we go. That was one thing that they apparently improved, was the smoothness of these animations, and they did look a little smooth there. I wasn't watching it terribly closely, but they did look pretty smooth. And something's complaining here on the FMC, verify takeoff speeds. Alright, so, something change here on that, or 20, no, everything looks good. Okay, good. Alright, last but not least, a flight control check. So elevators, ailerons, and the rudder. Alright, and an after start, or before taxi checklist I should say. So generators are on, probe heat is on, anti-ice is auto, and anti-ice is off, isolation valve is auto, engine start switches are continuous, I always forget that for some reason, recall, checked, auto brake is RTO, engine start levers at the idle detent, flight controls are checked, the ground equipment is clear, we are ready to go my friend, you ready? Let's do this. Burbank traffic, American 2599 is at the terminal, will be taxiing Delta Alpha, crossing runway 08 for departure 15. Come on. Wish it's a heavy beast. I got 111 packs I think loaded, but it's a lot of fuel loaded here. Alright, as soon as I'm not pointed directly at you, taxi light on, because I'm a courteous pilot, and the last thing you want to do is blind the other pilots. Try not to hit that sign. There's an EMAS system there. Nope, nobody's landing on 08. That's the EMAS system right there. Enhanced Materials Arresting System. There's probably a road right behind that fence, or very close behind that fence, so the last thing you want to do is have a runway overrun and have someone go through it. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a fun departure too, mostly because I don't have an FO to turn that heading to 210 for me once you reach 400 feet, so I'm going to have to do it myself. my other option, and I might actually do this, is to put 210 on there. I can arm the heading mode, and I just simply will not fly the turn until I hit 1,200 feet ASL. So let's put the heading, let's put heading cell 210 on there, and I will simply not turn or not engage heading mode until re-engage heading mode until we get to 400 feet AGL. Let's do it that way. Oh, you know what I didn't do now? I had done this the first time. I didn't backdate my time here by about 3 hours. So we're trying not to arrive not after dark in DFW. Pity, because if we get sort of that nice California sunset, what are you going to do? Okay, I have got to redo my checklist one point to put my transponder in here, because I don't have the transponder in the checklist, and most airlines will have the transponder in the checklist because it's something important to have. You got to make sure that you turn it on and off at the appropriate times. So one of the more important things I think on the checklist nowadays, because we do still turn it on and off manually, but it's important to remember you don't want to depart without the transponder on. Heats all just keep on cycling on and off. So I think what it is they're just all, their overheat sensors are tripping and cutting the power temporarily until the head temperature drops again. I am about 70% certain that that's probably what's happening, but I'm going to reread the AOM for the 737 when I get a chance to determine if that is correct or not. That I was going to do was make sure that my acceleration height, my thrust reduction heights were 1,000 feet AGL. So there we go. Now instead of waiting until 1,500, it's going to be 1,000 feet. It's going to cut back and decline power, start accelerating. There's some interesting textures right beyond the airport fence there. The airport itself is really nice. I imagine it looks like it's probably a parking lot, but the Microsoft Flight Simulator algorithm does not treat the parking lot particularly nicely there. There is a building there. Like it is quite amazing to look at like what they have managed to do with the images and technology without driving around, taking pictures of individual buildings around airports. They can create some pretty. They can auto-generate some pretty good textures, I gotta say. Like, it's pretty impressive to look at. Alright, there you are right behind me. I don't see anybody else really coming, so let's just make sure, flat 15, green light, and you know what I don't have in here is the CFG, which should be 5.16. Just past 5, there we go. Alright, perfect. So let's just quickly do this here before takeoff. Checklist, flaps are 15, green light. Stab trim 5.16 units. Before takeoff checklist is complete. And a quick look, I don't see anybody coming. Burbank traffic. American 2599 is taking position runway 15 for departure, right turn out on the slap departure. Alright, so let's get some lights. Clear myself for takeoff here, so. And. Oh, throttle's armed. Alright. Keep an eye on it. Let me know if we get the 10 viewers, because if we had a decent number of viewers before. Now, it seems to have gone down probably while I was troubleshooting. stable. There's takeoff, check thrust. Checked. I love how it doesn't even delay. It does both calls at the same time, which I always think is a little weird. It's like, alright, gear up. It's like you need to like sequence the call one after the other. You can't have them both happen at the same time. Alright, there's 1,200 feet. Heading select. Come on. Whoa, she is really working on loading something there. Maybe kind of hesitated there for a second. Alright, and there's 1,000 feet. Flight level change mode, please. There we go. And let's get speed of 210. Get Command A in there. Alright, flaps 5. That's 5. Flaps 1.
Traffic, let's go away, taking off 15, right hand depart to the north.
And there's flaps up, and let's do a direct to rave. Execute, let's put it in LNAV. Let's go ahead and give it some VNAV as well. There we go. So what we should probably do is just pull the speed back until we start to get turned on course. Let's keep the speed down at 220. Just because it'll get us turned on course a little sharper if we're going a little slower. Alright, so there's LAX down there. Just gonna keep this climb going around the corner here. She's a heavy piece, so she's climbing, but she's not climbing like crazy fast here, but she's definitely gonna make 7,000 a rave, I have no doubt about that. We got, what, 15 miles to rave, climbing at 3,500 feet per minute now, especially now as we're starting to...
LA traffic, Alaska, 1385
starting to pull up even further here, but looks like we're doing pretty good here. Rave above 7,000. Here comes 6,000 right now, and we're just about turned on course as well. Let's see if I can spot you. Just looks like you are off ground or very close to it, just in the turn. Hard to spot you against that very busy, cluttered background. I'm looking for your light. I don't see you. I'm sure you're there, I just don't know where you are. Alright, so let's cancel speed intervention. And let's go ahead and do an after takeoff checklist. And let's just have a look at the windshield heat. The windshield heat definitely looks like it's overheating less now. So now that we got some cooler air flowing quickly over the window, it's not overheating as quickly. Alright, after takeoff checklist, engine bleeds are on. Packs are auto. Landing gear is up and off. Flaps are up, no lights. The after takeoff checklist is complete. We're on our way. That took an hour. I had budgeted half an hour. That took an hour. Oh my god. They got to figure out what's going on with this clipping issue on the PFDs, because that just it's very distracting. It's kind of okay. You can deal with it if it's over on the FO side, but when it appears on the captain side, it's too much. It's very, very distracting. Let's go ahead and see. Here comes 10,000. Well, we definitely made Brave at or above 7,000 without too much issue there. Alright, how are we doing here? Alright, so there's 10,000 feet above the airport, so we can go ahead and get all the lights off. And looks like a nice day out here, so let's go ahead and get the seatbelt sign off. And let's check the cabin system, make sure we're pressurized. The cabin altitude is definitely climbing. It's through about 2,000 feet. The differential's at about 4 psi. And cabin is not showing much of a climb right now, but probably will. We're kind of stopped our climb because we're accelerating, so it probably will show a climb again in a little bit. So there was an altitude jethic at or below 190. We got to make sure we hit that. So 13,000 for slap. I don't see us having too much problem with that. We're about to hit our climb speed here, and then we're going to really give her again. Let's see if I can spot you. There you are. Yeah, I can see you behind me. I don't know how well it's showing up on stream, but just above the coastline right there. See the little dots there. Those little dots don't necessarily appear that well in the... So there's Burbank, so we just took off, circled around right back this way over these mountains, and these are some tall mountains. Like you do have to be aware of the terrain. Don't go north in if you're on the LA Basin, especially if you have like an engine failure or any kind of engine situation. Do not turn north. Turn any way but north. All right, so here comes 13,000 for slap. The next altitude restriction after that is Yappy above 15. Again, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that. What we are going to end up doing is leveling off at 190 for a little bit here. So this system should do it if we're in VNAV mode. It should level off at 190 until we pass Jethic. So we're just going to go ahead and let it do that. In fact, what I might actually do here is even just do some speed intervention here and get up to like 335. It's pretty smooth. And just sort of, rather than power the engines back, let's just give it forward speed until we pass that altitude restriction. So we'll give a little bit of more of a climb. So we already melt that slap restriction 13,000. We got to be Yappy at above 15, like we're at 14 now. So that's not the problem. The problem is the level off for Jethic. So let's go quickly just to get to Jethic. Conserve that energy, as it were. Now, is that Victorville down there? No, it's not Victorville yet, is it? I don't think that's Victorville. Somewhere over here is Victorville, the one of the aircraft, not graveyards, but one of like the aircraft storage facilities. And when COVID hit, like, I don't know if you guys saw that video. There was a YouTube video somebody put out, a GA pilot that went out flying, and he flew down over Victorville, and just to see the number of airplanes that were parked temporarily, that were just temporarily parked at this airport because, you know, the demand for COVID just killed the entire industry just like overnight. And all of a sudden, airlines had hundreds upon thousands of surplus airplanes between all of them. So it's a fantastic video. Now I'm gonna find it because it was just really neat to see like how many airplanes got parked, and it's somewhere right north of here. Let's see here. It's got to be my search history somewhere. Just trying to find this video. This guy, he was just a GA pilot, and he was flying around, and he decided to go fly to Victorville. And so he shot a video from his airplane as he was flying over Victorville. This might have been it here. Just gonna mute it here, but if you ever get a chance, it's really neat to see the whole thing. No, of course, I wasn't showing me ads the second I slid it over. It's showing me ads. You silly thing. Okay. Anyway, translation set standard. Of course, it's showing ads. Let's get ads. Yeah, so here it is, Victorville, California, and these are the airplanes that basically got parked for COVID. And this guy, as you can see, he's out here, and I don't know what it is, 172 maybe or something like that, but no, it's not 172. It's low wing, Cherokee or something like that. But guys just bombing around and just looking at all the airplanes. Just look at it. Just look at the number of airplanes that are parked here. It just blows the mind. They just, all of a sudden, all these airplanes are like, we don't have any reason to fly them. There's not enough passengers to put in them. And just crazy to look at that. Even just from one airline, how many airplanes got parked here. Delta left, that's easily 50 airplanes right there parked on that runway just by Delta alone. Southwest is probably about the same. Just insane. This guy did a low and over as well. I think, I can't remember, but just crazy to see it. It's really neat. But yeah, so that's somewhere right up here. That's Victorville, California. So that's somewhere just up ahead of us here. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but it might be this one right here. We're going to fly almost right past it, I think. There's EDW, which I think is Edwards Air Force Base, yeah. So that's Edwards Air Force Base off to our left, somewhere. Right there, maybe. Alright. We met the 190 restriction. I'm going to go ahead and take away the speed intervention and let it climb at its cost index speed now. But what I will do is I'll put 350 up there now. It begins to sound really quiet to you guys, the airplane. I'm just noticing, like, in my headset, really super quiet. Not hearing a whole lot of airplane sound there. Let's see how it looks. No, it looks like you guys are hearing more than I'm hearing. I think my headset is just a little quiet today. Yeah, just right of antelope. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just sort of figuring that out, but I don't think it's that well modeled in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know 100%. I don't think it is, but yeah, Edwards Air Force Base is up there. It's a really kind of neat part of the world. I don't spend a whole lot of time flying around California in the simulator, and there's some really neat stuff to see here. We should go to Victorville one day and just do a flyover. I think I did an FS Economy flight that took me there one day. Behind me? Somewhere? I've lost you now. Gave it too much speed. I'm sure you're exactly 10 miles behind me. Perfect in-trail spacing, I'm sure. But away we go. On our way back to DFW. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't look like the weather's going to be too bad today. It looks like yesterday there was a lot of really kind of bad looking weather in the Texas area, Dallas area. Even earlier today I was looking at the weather radar and there was some nasty stuff that was erupting over Texas, but not along our route, fortunately, south of our route. If I can bring it up. Even where I was today, it was raining quite a bit. It wasn't quite terrible, but it rained quite a bit here. But the place where I ended up. But yeah, there is some stuff there. Let me see if I can display it this way. Yeah, let's do it this way. So here's our route, of course, and yeah, it's south of DFW, fortunately, but there is some stuff over Texas today. Looks like Fort Worth Center logged off, but we do have Albuquerque Center online, so we'll have some ATC to talk for at least a little bit here, hopefully, unless he logs off before we get there, which always happens. But yeah, just some absolutely nasty air mass thunderstorms here, and it's not even moving. It's just like they're just growing in place. It's so hot in Texas, they don't even need motion to get these thunderstorms climbing to a severe altitude. I don't know if I can animate it at all. Way to animate it, so back to the flight summary screen here, and but here's the US Aviation.gov or AviationWeather.gov, and you can see it's like it's not moving, it's not frontal, it's all air mass thunderstorms. They're just sort of forming in place. They're sort of drifting a little bit, but they're not moving. They're not a pronounced system like this one up here, where it's a very pronounced line that was moving from west to east that affected most of the east coast today and created not a crazy amount of delays because it was not that intense, but it definitely did create some delays. The showers were intense briefly at most of the major airports along the northeast, Philadelphia, Washington, up through New York, and even Boston the last hour or so, last couple hours or so by the looks of it. So made for a little bit of a busy day. What app is that? This is are you talking about this? This is just AviationWeather.gov/radar. AviationWeather.gov, if you want any aviation weather in the U.S., is actually a really fantastic tool. They have all sorts of great tools. You can click on whatever you want: METARS, TAS, SIGMETs, AirMets. They have forecasts for icing, wind charts, prog charts, everything you possibly want, freezing levels and icing forecasts. And they got some really, really neat tools. I'm not sure if they even work anymore. They used to work. I don't think it does. No, it doesn't work anymore. There used to be because you need Java for this, but there used to be a really great sort of analytical tool where you could actually set your flight and you could actually set your departure time, set your altitude. It would show you the profile of your track, and you could even move the time sliders to see if you like leave earlier or later, where it puts turbulence and all sorts of stuff. Like there was a lot of really good tools once upon a time. Or if you're asking about the app, this is SimToolKit Pro. Yeah, that's SimToolKit Pro. So that is a yeah, it's a companion app for your sim. It's a whole bunch of different things. That's why they call it the toolkit. It's a bunch of different stuff. I've shown this off before, but it's a really neat app. I find it really useful. For me, it is first of all, it's what's putting up that overlay at the top of the screen there. Are we passing Victorville right now? Sorry. Let me come back to that. Victorville, where are you, Victorville? There it is. Is that Victorville right there? That must be it right there. Just behind us, right? Yeah, that must be... Or is that it right there? Hold on. There. That's it right there. That's Victorville, California right there. So we just passed it there. Here I was getting distracted, but there it was. I can't see if there's a graveyard there or not. I don't think it's going to really let me zoom in enough to really see. No, it's not going to let me zoom in enough to see, but yeah. We can go back. We'll just fly this way. I will not fly slower than my airplane. Leave the airplane behind. Bye. Alright, not that one, that one. Yeah, no, SimToolKit Pro is, I find it's a really, really useful app. It does all sorts of stuff. So it, if you track your flight in it, it allows you to have a streaming overlay. So this overlay that shows the top of my screen here with all the information is actually being output by SimToolKit Pro. It's a flight tracker, so you can import a flight plan from SimBrief. I did flight planning, and I can't show you now because it's already flight plan loaded, but this was imported directly from SimBrief. And you can maintain a fleet of airplanes within this, so you can keep track of where your airplanes are, how many hours you log on each airplane, 62 hours on some of these airplanes, 30 hours on some of them. So each airplane has its own log of where I've taken that airplane over the course of my sim career. So it's got a full-on logbook function here. So here's my SimToolKit Pro logbook of all the flights that I've done in Flight Sim since I started using SimToolKit Pro. And before I used SimToolKit Pro, I was using I can't even remember what it was called now. I can't remember what that other app was called now. Project Fly. Whatever happened to Project Fly? But yeah, I was using Project Fly before that, so I was able to export the flights I had in Project Fly into this logbook. But so it's logged 609 flights, 1,750 hours of flying logged in MSFS and P3D before that. So over the last several years, I've logged over 500,000 miles of simulated flying anyways. And yeah, you can maintain a fleet. You can remember where all your different fleet types, where each one is, the logbooks for each one. So like this airplane here, this WestJet 737, which I used in P3D. I did a lot of flights in that airplane, as you can see here. I logged 70 hours. Kind of neat to see the whole kind of pattern there. So it measures your landing. It analyzes all of your landings for descent rate. Yeah, that was pretty ugly, as was that one. All sorts of useful tools here. So yeah, like I said, you get a live map, and you can get all sorts of overlays on the live map here. So depending on what you like to do, VATSIM, IVEO, you can overlay the ATC that's available for each different network. I've got also all the VATSIM flights showing on here as well. So there is Nuclear Jet 748. No, and that one is an error, which does not seem to have affected my total. But yeah, you can overlay all sorts of stuff. So whichever of these you like, whichever of these networks you like, you can put weather. Another really neat thing that this does, and that I have done, is you can actually, let's see here, where is it? Under settings, for your sim, you can actually list the aircraft that are in your simulator, or not the aircraft, the airports that are in your simulator that you maybe have good scenery for, that you've downloaded either high quality freeware or payware, whatever. It doesn't necessarily distinguish, but yeah, like here's my collection of P3D airports. And then on your live map, if you're trying to remember where to fly and what airports I have good scenery for, you can actually overlay, yeah, my MSFS airport. So all the green dot airports here are airports that I have downloaded good scenery for, either freeware or payware, or I've also labeled the detailed default airports. So the airports that Microsoft put out that were, or that Asobo put out that were detailed, that come with the package. So they're all labeled, so I can see and I can kind of link these together, and I can say, hey, I feel like going somewhere from Jackson Hole. Where can I go? Well, the closest ones I have good scenery for are Denver, Aspen, Telluride, or I can go a little farther afield. But it's just kind of nice to kind of remember when you start getting a big collection of airports. Hey, where do I have an airport still? Yeah, so really useful tool. I have it running because of my streaming, but I also keep it for the logbook function even when I'm not streaming. This is my logbook for streaming and non-streaming, so really useful tool. SimToolKit Pro. If you just Google SimToolKit Pro, you'll find it. It's under pretty active development all the time, so that there's always new features being added, the interface is being updated, and all sorts of stuff. So it's a very active development project right now as well, which is kind of nice. Some projects die eventually. That one is still pretty active. Alright, here we are through 310, and yeah, you know what I didn't even do is I didn't even see what the damage was here for our arrival into DFW. So, what are we showing for arrival in DFW? 0138 Zulu, which is just over 2 hours from now. It's not too bad. It's a little bit behind where I wanted to be, about a half an hour behind where I wanted to be, but thanks to fighting with the simulator and chasing a mouse in my house, I guess that's where I am, so be it. You deal. Because if there's one thing that 2022 is teaching passengers in the airline industry, it's you deal with, you just deal. And, or not even all passengers, but crews especially, you just deal. The other day we dutied out. We dutied out before we finished our flight. We didn't even have a chance to load the passengers for our final flight because, yeah, we were missing some personnel, so the flight never got loaded. We had a cutoff time. We had to be pushing off the gate at a certain time. It got to less than 20 minutes from that time, and then they said, okay, we've got everybody ready. We can start loading the flight. And I'm like, you're not going to fill this airplane in like 15 minutes and have us off the gate in 15 minutes. I know it for a fact. I've seen it a dozen times before. And so, yeah, unfortunately they ended up canceling the flight. But I feel bad about it, but at the same time, like, I feel bad for the passengers, but like I don't feel bad about making the decision for myself, anyways, and the captain I was flying with to not go. We were at the end of our rope. It was going to be a 13-hour plus day. If we extended, we were right up to the maximum 13 hours, which is a ridiculously long day to begin with. Yeah, I had been awake by the time we'd actually canceled the flight. I had been awake for 14 hours, so by the time we would have finished that flight, I would have landed at about 16 hours. I'd gotten up at 5 in the morning. I'm like, I can't keep going. I definitely cannot keep going past the legal limit. It's just too much. So I feel bad. Like, I really do. Like, I hate to be that guy that does that and causes the flight to be canceled because I'm not willing to go over the duty day. But at the same time, like, the duty days are very long to begin with. It's got to be a pretty crazy, something pretty outlandish has got to happen for me to be convinced to go over my duty day. 340 climbing 350. I know myself. I know that when those duty day limits that are set, they're pretty extreme to me. If I reach the end of that duty day, chances are I'm probably already pretty tired. And I know what it's like. And you kind of like, you got to be careful too, because like what you always kind of end up doing is. You end up judging yourself when you're leaving, and it's like when you're leaving. Well, we're only at the 11-hour mark now. It's like I feel okay, but you got to think about the fact that it's going to be 2 hours down the road where you're going to be trying to be landing this 30 or 40 ton airplane. Am I really going to be competent and capable at that point in another 2 hours? Can I really keep it up that long and really be awake? Because I may be awake for the departure, but what about the arrival? So yeah, I very rarely push past those limits. I think a 13-hour duty day is a very long duty day to begin with. I I think it's still almost too long and probably needs to be reduced a little more, but I'm certainly not going to go over that. I know myself. I'm not a young kid. I do have a limit. Just wondering what this line on there is, or is that just the? It's just the VOR, isn't it? All right, there we are. Level 350. Give it that assistance page. We really don't need it. Beautiful if quiet day in the desert. Let's just see how close we are to entering Albuquerque's airspace. Yeah, still got a little ways to go here. Alright, so let me see here. So, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just going to talk about one thing here. See if I can find it here. Okay, so because I'm just thinking about it here because I'm just passing. Yeah, we're just passing Las Vegas here shortly, and it just got me thinking about the guy that was in the news today. This just blew my mind. And you guys may or may not have heard about this, but there is a guy who works at a Burger King in Las Vegas, and he has worked at this Burger King in Las Vegas for 27 years. 27 years this man has worked at the same Burger King. He's a model employee, apparently. To hear everyone tell it, he's a model employee. He's never missed a day of work that he's been scheduled for in 27 years is what they say. I honestly find that hard to believe, and I don't want to undercut the guy because even if you miss, 1 or 2 days in 27 years, it's still, frankly, a fantastic record to work there that long. But supposedly he has never missed a day, a scheduled shift in 27 years. So to celebrate his 27-year anniversary, Burger King gave him a little gift bag that had, among other things, a bag of Reese's Pieces, a movie voucher, a couple of pencils, I think. And this guy, somebody filmed this guy opening the loot bag on, and then posted the loot bag on, I don't even know what website it posted on, but it went viral. Somebody posted it, it went viral with a lot of people very unhappy with Burger King. They're not afraid to express their displeasure over the guy works there 27 years and you give him a bag with some pencils and candy in it and a movie ticket. And I don't know what necessarily anyone was expecting. I mean, But that being said, that kind of longevity in a Burger King is frankly phenomenal. Fast food restaurants are just not something most people usually plan as a long-term job. It's usually a short-term job. But this guy, he's been there for 27 years. So the fact that they thought, okay, 27 years is a pretty big deal. Maybe we should get him something great. But then they just went so cheap on what they ended up getting him, and it's just I don't necessarily believe that corporations owe you anything per se at your anniversaries. It is nice the companies that recognize it. In a company that large, I would not expect anyone to recognize it. But anyway, suffice to say that this guy went viral. A lot of people reacted. Burger King's taken a lot of heat over it. But what somebody then went and did was they went and started a Kickstarter for this guy, or not a Kickstarter, but a GoFundMe for this guy, just to sort of reward him for a job well done. And I don't think anyone was really looking. I don't think this guy. Yeah, and it's funny because if you watch this guy, the people have interviewed him now and talked to him and about all this sudden internet fame, and he's he's such a down-to-earth guy. First of all, to hear him, to see the videos of him, he's just I was happy to get anything. I just go to work, I do the job I'm supposed to do. It was very nice. It was very nice of them to even give me anything at all. which is just a fantastic attitude. First of all, to be grateful for what you get in this world, because so many people have such not high expectations, but what am I trying to say? They so many people feel that they are owed something. That it's nice, first of all, to see a guy who's just humble and willing to accept what he's gotten. But so somebody started him a GoFundMe just to sort of like say, hey, you know, here's something to help you celebrate. I just looked at a news article, and that GoFundMe has raised now over $160,000 for this guy who just happened to get a really shitty 27th anniversary gift from his employer. And 27 years is nothing to laugh at in this fast food business, but I wouldn't necessarily expect the company to do that a whole lot. But it's like, if you're going to do something, do it. Like 27 years, do something decent. Don't, yeah, like I get people's general outrage. Like, if you're going to do something, if you're going to mark the occasion, and 27 is kind of a weird anniversary, like wait till 30 maybe, but if he makes it to 30, do something really nice. Give him like a paid vacation, for crying out loud. Like, that man has earned you so much revenue over the years. Do something fairly big, because not too many people are going to make it to that 30-year mark. I get it too. Like, in a big company like that, you can't necessarily set a big precedent, because there will be other people that'll reach that mark. They may not be very common, but there will be. But the thing that really just makes the whole story so beautiful is that this guy he's just so humble about the whole thing. Even, you know, having somebody set up this GoFundMe for him, he's just so downplayed about the whole thing. He's like, you know, he really appreciates it. He's going to take some of the money and take a trip and go visit some family, and then he's going to put the rest of the money towards his I believe he said his did he say his nephews and nieces college fund. Yeah. I can't. It doesn't even say here, but yeah, apparently, yeah, or maybe it's his grandkids. I think maybe it's his grandkids. He's gonna just put most of the money towards getting his grandkids an education. What a wonderful gift that is. Like, just to, you know, I don't take a little bit of the money. Like, yeah, it would be nice to travel and go visit some family, but then to take this money that he never expected, never asked for, and to just go and immediately give it to his grandkids to make sure that they have the money to pay for an education. Like, where are those kind of people in this world most of the time? Because I tell you, there's so many people that are so self-involved. I was on an airplane today, in the back of an airplane, and of course, when we got to the gate and there was no ramp crew waiting, most people were like, okay, sure, whatever. And there was one guy who just like had to say it super loud, of course, as if the world owes him everything. And I had half a mind to turn around and give him a piece of my mind. I didn't, and it's probably a good thing I held my tongue. But just one person. Everyone else in the plane was like, fine, whatever, stuff happens. And there, you know, a couple people in the first couple of rows were leaning forward and talking to the flight attendant and saying, yeah, no, we get it. It's just the way this business is right now. There's not enough people working anywhere. But just one person who was so put out because he's going to get there 20 minutes later now because there wasn't a ticker tape parade waiting to guide his plane to the gate. It just, that whole attitude just bugs me. You know, you're not the only person out here. Everybody has places they want to be. And you can't really be shocked. But yeah, just that whole, I guess he wasn't really shocked, but just that whole attitude. It's like, we don't want to do this. Nobody wants to do this. The guys who are there and girls that are there working the ramp are working so hard, because there's just not enough of them to do the job, and so they're there for hours and hours past the end of their shift and doing mandatory overtime because they can't turn down overtime if they're told it's required. They can't turn it down and say, I'm going home. They have to stay until the jobs for the day are done, until all the planes are unloaded. And yeah, it just goes on and on. Sometimes, you know, your shift's supposed to end at 10 p.m. and like 1:30 in the morning, you're still there because not all the planes are unloaded yet, and you got to stay there until they say you're done. So it's, yeah, people that are there are working so hard, And it's just a shame that it only takes a couple people to really kind of ruin that day. It really does. Hi. Alright, I don't know what else is happening out there today. Just trying to think what else I could talk about here, because I was trying to find stuff to talk about, because it was only been like 3 days, 4 days since I did the leg to Burbank. It's like there's not that much that's really come out in the sim world in that time period to really kind of create some conversation topics. So if anybody has anything they want to talk about, please do. I'm trying to even think right now. I had a couple of thoughts on things to talk about, and I've already forgotten them. I have got to write this stuff down. I have just got to write this stuff down. Oh, and while I'm sitting here chatting away, I missed a call in Albuquerque. 32.8, 32.8. I knew it was coming up, and I just started chatting about this guy.
6 altitude leaving.
Skyhawk 116 fast to 2200.
Skyhawk 116, your radar contact, climb the requested VFR cruising altitude, and proceed on course. You're cleared in the Phoenix class Bravo airspace. The altimeter is 2989.
2989 on course and up to cruise for 116.
Albuquerque Center, good evening. It's American 2599, flight level 350.
American 2599, Albuquerque Center, good evening. Squawk 0770, say your position.
Alright, 0770 coming up for American 2599, stand by.
Skywest 5400, climb maintain flight level 340 for now.
Flight level 340 for Skywest 5400.
Albuquerque Center, Southwest 147, heading short of runway 8.
Delta 147, Albuquerque Center, good evening. Runway 8, the wind is calm, clear for takeoff. Delta 4, you leave my airspace to the east. Kansas City's offline, radar services are terminated, frequency change approved. Have a good night.
And American 2599 position is about 50 miles south of Papa Golf Sierra.
American 2599, your radar contact, maintain 350.
Maintain 350, American 2599, thanks. Alright, there we go.
Walker 2319, the current weather, Amarillo, the wind is 1208, 10 miles, clear skies, temperature is 23, dew point's 12, the altimeter is 3025, runway 4 taxi via Papa.
It's nice to have some ATC once in a while. Give you something to listen to.
American 720, correction, Southwest 728, climb maintain flight level 380.
Trying to think what else. What else?
Maintain 380, Southwest 728.
Albuquerque Center, this is
one thing we could talk about, because I was sort of alluding to it a little bit earlier, but it can be a really useful website for anyone out there who wants to kind of keep an eye on what's going on in the real world.
Info Julia,
and that is the FAA's airspace system status page.
And I do have information
Juliet on board and the correct address because it recently changed. But yeah, NAS status, NAS, National Airspace System status.faa.gov, which is a really good website. It takes a little bit of kind of getting used to reading it, but once you get used to reading it, it's actually as a simmer, it can be an entertaining website because it can kind of give you an insight to what's going on in the real world, and you can sort of make plans based around it. So as soon as you visit it, it's constantly kind of updating, but it's a list of all the current delays and programs, delay programs that are in effect in the United States. And you can see right now we only have 3. There's a ground delay program for airplanes inbound to Austin. There is
American 1208, did you call?
Closure of the VLD airport. And as well, LaGuardia has departure delays. And you can actually read the advisories here to see what actually says here, which is really kind of neat. So you can see the control element is the Austin airport, type is an airport. the time that this was issued.
Under control.
Arrivals for all the arrivals in Austin between 0151 and 0759 Zulu, and cumulative program rate period. So the original program started on at 20 Zulu on the 27th. So all the totals and everything are from that original program, but then there was an update reissued at 0151 Zulu, so the program was changed slightly. Program rate 12 means that 12 arrivals are allowed per hour into Austin, Texas, which is not very many. A major airport, you can easily do 30 to 36 arrivals per hour if you've got some kind of a dual runway system, but because of the amount of storms, they're reducing it to only 12 arrivals per hour just to keep
Canadian, King Air Charlie, Kilo,
keep
Alpha, Romeo,
not the capacity, but to keep the
Center,
yeah,
good
they're basically
evening.
restricting the capacity. They're trying to keep the
Runway,
amount of
the
airplanes
wind
in
is
the
calm.
airspace down to give the controllers room to work them all. Flights included all contiguous U.S. departures and departure scopes, so all the centers that are
Romeo, Papa, my apologies, runway 3.
included in this program. So if you're not listed here, then you're not necessarily included in the program. So, and I'll show you kind of what the departure scope kind of looks like. Canadian departure airports included. So if anybody,
say altitude leaving.
if any Canadian airports are included in this advisory that are restricted. Maximum delay and average delays. The maximum delay is 362 minutes, but the average delay for all the airplanes inbound to Austin for this time period is 188 minutes. And they tell you the reasons why. Comments, ground stop was canceled, look for new edicts, expected departure clearance time. So these are the takeoff times that are issued. There used to be a way to show, I don't think you can show it anymore.
Delta 147, your radar contact, climb maintain flight level 200.
No, I don't think it's not there. There used to be a neat little
radar contact, maintain flight level 350.
diagram that would show you the
Number control away.
various
Skywest 5400, climb maintain flight level 360.
tiers of delay programs.
Skywest 5400.
So yeah, just to kind of show you anyways, to give you an idea. So if you take like the map of the all the US ARTCCs here, if I can show the whole thing. There we go. That's
ready for taxi, Southwest.
so what the scope means is how many of these are actually affected. So
1746, runway 7
let's
left,
take the
taxi
example
at
of
Delta
Austin,
10
which is
Echo.
located somewhere here, somewhere around here in Houston.
Yep, I have information.
And so if they say the departure scope is 1, then what that means is that
Southwest 1746.
all the
Alpha, Romeo, Papa,
ARTCCs that touch, all the ARTCs that touch Houston will also be included in these restrictions. So any departures going to Austin that are departing from within Albuquerque, Fort Worth, Memphis, Atlanta, or Jacksonville will also be restricted. But if they're expecting it's going to be pretty short-term restriction, they won't restrict departures from, say, Boston over here coming down to Houston.
You leave my airspace to the east.
The figuring is that by the time they get all the way down there, the delay program will be over. So first tier scope just means that it's whoever is attached to the actual ARTC that has the delay program in it. The second tier would be then the ones that are adjacent to the ones that are there. So if it's a second tier one, then for Houston, then it would also include, as well as these original 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, would also include the ones touching them. So Los Angeles, Denver, Kansas City, Indy, Washington, and Miami as well. So include all those. So depending on how long they think the delay program is going to last, they'll include more and more airports. And they may start including Canadian airports in that as well, explicitly, if there are inbounds that could potentially be affected. So
Southwest 728.
yeah, so it's a really kind of neat system to sort of read and learn how the whole thing works, depending on the intensity. But you can also then see the operation plans for the whole day, which I always really think is kind of neat because it's an insight into the plan that's going on. It's pretty brief right now because the day's almost over, and tomorrow there's going to be a different plan. But Austin ground stop in place till 200 Zulu with possibility for extension due to thunderstorms. Denver reference removed from the plan. No additional items identified for this evening. So tomorrow there'll be a whole nother plan, and they'll talk about whatever might be potentially impacting, whether there's thunderstorms, you know, blizzards, staffing constraints, which is apparently been a routine complaint.
In there, but squawk 0775. 0775.
see here, en route
Southwest
constraints.
1746.
NAV Canada has constraints due to
Delta
staffing.
147, climb maintain flood level 300.
ZJX Computix military exercise, so there's exercise going on. They'll even have space launches listed, so if there's a space launch planned, they'll have space launches so people know when to work around them. VIP movements could be the president, could be anybody, but it'll say roughly when, so people know when there's going to be delays in the system. Flight checks might reduce the capacity of these airports, that's why they're done in the middle of the night.
Runway 21, taxi
Yeah, terminal constraints or staffing constraints. So Jacksonville basically has a staffing constraint every single day. SCT, Southern California, SoCal, Austin Air Traffic Control Tower, and HND. I don't even know what HND is, honestly, but yeah, anything that might construction.
319 on departure fly heading 360.
Anything that might potentially cause an impact.
1208, clear for takeoff.
On the airspace system is mentioned in this terminal constraint program here.
Alpha Romeo Papa, we are at 1700 climbing 1000.
Where'd I go here? Sorry. Yeah, so like for the day they'll have like, and this is something that like the airlines will read and they'll say, okay, well, where are the impacts going to be? Where are we going to potentially have possible ground delays, ground stops? So this is kind of for tomorrow, actually. Some of this is starting to come in. This is probably for tomorrow now, or it might have been today's that has happened now. So terminal plan anytime after, there could be ground delays and stops in Atlanta, Dallas, or whatever. So really kind of need like to, if you're involved in aviation, to sort of see what's going on day to day and see how it might impact you, see what the FAA is planning. And there's some other neat stuff that's built into this website as well.
Skywest 54, you're leaving my airspace to the west.
Airport demand is one of the really neat things here. So if you want to say, let's say DFW.
All right, over to Unicom for Skywest 54.
Where we're going, DFW is our airport. Here's our plan. Here's the next basically like 18 hours usually, I think 15, 18 hours. This is the amount of airplanes that this airport can accept, and this is the amount that is predicted to arrive at the airport for the next 18 hours. DFW's got so many runways, it really does not make much of an impact. Let's pick something that's a little more constrained. Newark is always a favorite. You can see right now they look like they're going to maintain a pretty good arrival rate. Doesn't look like it's going to cause too much of an impact. But let's look at Austin. So where they had this program restriction, they had a whole bunch of arrivals kind of scheduled to arrive all at the same time, and they said, no, we can only handle 12 arrivals per hour. They have, I guess, as well as the thunderstorms, they're also having staffing issues. So you can see there's a big rush here. You can even change fidelity.
American 2599, say Mach number.
American 2599, Mach decimal 80.
American 2599, maintain Mach .80 or greater, space mid-Dallas.
All right, Mach .80 or greater to American 2599.
American 1208, maintain Mach 79 or less.
So you can break the fidelity down into this was hour-long block. So you can see like the 0300 hour. There's a bit of a capacity issue here, and if they were to keep this 12 arrivals per hour tomorrow as well, you can see by the middle of the day they're going to run into some real staffing problems. They're going to run into some real capacity problems in Austin. So this was caused by thunderstorms and staffing. If both of those resolve tomorrow, then they'll be fine. This is their normal arrival rate is 40, but they cut it down to 12 today because of the weather and staffing. But then you can break it down to 50-minute intervals and see how it looks for the whole 50 minutes. So you can see there's a couple of points here where there's way too many arrivals, way more arrivals than the airport is designed to handle. And so, right around here, you can expect, if you're arriving in this window here, you can expect you're probably going to get some delays, maybe some airborne holding while you kind of wait to for your time to sort of come. So. Really neat tools on this page. I as a professional, they're really, really useful. But even as an amateur, just sort of interesting if you want to sort of see what's happening, why things are happening a certain way, gives you an insight into the planning that's going on in the FAA's command centers. All right, so we gotta make sure we maintain Mach decimal 80 or better, so that we don't. Don't hold you back too much. Doesn't like your 10 miles in trail. No, I guess he probably wants more than that. Maybe he wants 20. And I don't think it's going to matter too much to him because at the end of the day, Fort Worth is not online unless they've logged on now. No, Albuquerque. I think that's Monterey. Oakland and Salt Lake Center. So no Fort Worth Center. So once you get free of his airspace, it's going to be a free-for-all again. But actually, it's going to take us a good portion of the way. Like, it's almost going to take us to the top of the star here before we leave Albuquerque space. So it's going to be a while. We're going to be with him probably for about an hour here. Maybe a little more.
2319, you're at our
Like, look at these thunderstorms here. Like, oh, sorry. I'm
300,
sorry. I'm looking on the other screen, so you guys aren't seeing what I'm looking at. Allow me to bring this over here. Like, look at these thunderstorms. This is probably Austin, Texas right here. Yeah, this is Austin right here. Like, look at all these guys that are hanging out here. All these VATSIMers. They're like, oh, let's go to the place where there's big thunderstorms. But, like, they're not going anywhere quickly, too, which is the other thing that's making a real problem for people trying to get in and out of Austin, is that they're not going anywhere. They're just sort of sitting all around the field. It's not like a line of thunderstorms that's rolling through and it's gone. It's making a real headache for anyone trying to get in and out of Austin. So there's the other sectors that are online. There's Monterey, Salt Lake, and
Southwest 728, you're leaving my airspace to the north. LA is offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. Have a good night.
Off to you come. Thanks for your help.
It's kind of nice to be on here in the evening, though, where we at least do get ATC. I like flying in the morning sometimes because it's better for me and I'm much more awake. Especially trying to do these longer legs, but you don't get much ATC in the mornings usually.
Time star 6 Alpha November, your radar contact, climb maintain 8,000.
Climb maintain 8,000, 6 Alpha November.
So still looking for 10 viewers. If we can get 10 viewers online,
you're going to be ready to go.
We're going to bump up this failure rate. You know what I will do? I will do, you guys, those of you that are watching, I'll do
1746.
Just do you a favor here.
Winds calm, runway 7 left, clear for takeoff.
Runway 7 left, clear for takeoff, 1748, 46.
American 7 or American 425.
Oh, we do still have random events turned on.
Fort Worth is offline. Services terminated for
because it's data from last time. You know what? That's fine.
Frequency change approved. American 425.
We'll leave it as it is.
Good feedback, man. I always enjoy flying when you're running center. Have a good night, man. 82. Thanks a lot.
I do not know these Albuquerque controllers at all. Have failures turned on, so better stick with me. You never know, something could fail on our way down to DFW here. What else can we talk about, though? There is some neat stuff coming up for the...
Time to start 6 off November, quarter at Carlo.
For the 40th anniversary of Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's some neat stuff coming up. I believe they said they're going to have an ATR. What else was there?
Mooney 1 November Juliet.
They say they were going to bring out for the 40th anniversary now.
2305, turn right heading.
Now I got to go look again.
Clear for takeoff.
Because I was impressed by some of the stuff they
runway 21 clear for takeoff.
Here.
Mooney 1 November Juliet.
One thing I was really neat, I thought this was really neat. This year, apparently, there's going to be a virtual fly-in for Oshkosh a week before. So for those of you that don't know, every year in Oshkosh,
maintain Mach 7 or less, spacing Dallas.
American 2 Mach 77 or less.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, that Oshkosh is the Experimental Aircraft Association's annual AirVenture, which is basically the biggest fly-in in the world. Usually 10,000, in the neighborhood of 10,000 airplanes, GA airplanes mostly, land at the Oshkosh airport over a 1 week period, which is it's an insane amount of airplanes. Like during the day, they'll have like 3 airplanes landing on the same runway at the same time. One on the first third, one on the second third, one on the last third, only because it's the only way they can do it. If you ever get a chance to go, it's an absolutely amazing show. And just watching the ATC alone is just an amazing feat, how they managed to get 10,000 people in and out in that week on what is basically a small, relatively small 2-runway airport. And 1 runway, they've made it quite long now to sort of support larger aircraft showing up at the show.
Mooney 201 November Juliet.
It's one of those cases where like you don't even talk to ATC, you just listen for them to describe your airplane, and they're just literally the guys just sitting there with binoculars. Okay, the Red Piper. Red Piper, you're going to land on the second third of the runway. And like they literally, they will not even.
Juliet,
They don't even care about your call sign. They just see you with the binoculars. They bring you in.
Maintain 8,000.
They call out your description. You just come in and land and taxi off. It's just like it's insane the amount of airplanes that show up. But anyway, so this year, Pilot Edge is hosting a virtual event a week or two before, where they will actually have the actual Oshkosh controllers, who are kind of like, I won't say they're an elite team, but they're like a very special team, because they've got a very unique system that they do up there. Like they come in from different ATC facilities all over the U.S. and they come for this week in Oshkosh and work together to actually work the tower and get all these aircraft in and out of Oshkosh. So they're going to have a training session like a week before on Pilot Edge, where anyone who wants to fly the Oshkosh procedures, they will be published for Pilot Edge pilots about a week before, and they will have the actual controllers who work Oshkosh on Pilot Edge working that virtual event, and they'll be it's mutually beneficial for everyone. The Oshkosh controllers will get to brush up their skills and make sure they're up on their procedures, and anybody who's thinking of flying to AirVenture would be able to read the NOTAM and practice the flight and see how it actually works with real controllers. So I think that's a fantastic idea. I think it's a fantastic use of. That's exactly what all of these online networks are really for, is giving people a chance to practice stuff they would not otherwise get a chance to practice. Real world situations that are perhaps a little bit outlandish, a little bit beyond the norm, or even just things that are just beyond your normal comfort zone. I'll be honest, like as a pilot, Oshkosh intimidates me. It's just such a hectic event with so many airplanes in such a small amount of airspace that it's almost a miracle that there isn't a mid-air collision almost every single time the event occurs. Like there's just so many airplanes showing up and such a special set of procedures. Let me see if I can find them here.
Runway 1 November Juliet, climb maintain 10,000, Deer Valley altimeter is 29903.
Deer Valley altimeter 29903, climb maintain 10,000, Mooney 1 November Juliet.
So here's the NOTAM. I guess this is for this year, pre-flight planning. But so VFR route planning. So they show you kind of the ways that you have to fly to get to and from the area. Show you risks nearby, how to get in and around the nearby towers, where the VFR corridors are that you should expect to use, and who to talk to, what frequencies to monitor. VFR transition through Chicago approach, Canadian pilots. Even Nordo, no radio procedures can be used to get into Oshkosh, and then there's very specific arrivals that everyone has to follow to get in. And it's even got pictures. Like it's such a detail, because it's such a complicated procedure, and they even have like a hold published. Like if you do not get someone, if you don't get permission to enter right away, they've got these holds published. Basically circle around these lakes here until you get permission to come straight in and just land. And there's literally 3 dots, and they tell you which dot to land on: the white dot, the green dot, and the orange dot. And if there's 3 light aircraft, they'll have 3 aircraft landing at the same time. It's just insane. But yeah, and so even as a pilot, like it's not that the VFR flying itself intimidates me, but just the volume of traffic. It's not that I don't like flying VFR. It's just that I don't know that I would be comfortable with that, with the amount of airplanes that are operating in that airspace. I'm gonna say I live in a nice cushy bubble of IFR flying most of the time, where you have a 3-mile separation from everyone around you. The idea of just being part of like literally hundreds of guys circling these lakes, waiting for them to call you out to come into land. Yeah, they even have diversionary airports nearby where they plan diversions for if there's not enough traffic or if the weather goes down.
1 November Juliet, verify you're going to Carlo.
I should be going direct Carl. It says I'm going direct John right now. Stand by. 1 November Juliet.
Fly your airplane, buddy. What did Tim say? Alright, so I guess we do have failures still on, so there's a good chance something's going to fail before we get to DFW. I didn't realize the failures were still on. I honestly did not.
Kind of whack. 1 November Juliet.
1 November Juliet, not a problem. 1 Able, turn right heading 320, and 1 Able, your quarter at Carlo.
This guy's still working pretty hard. We're about a third of the way through his space now. It's not super busy tonight, but it's definitely busy enough to keep him busy, which is good.
1 November Juliet.
He's got, it sounds to me like he's got the right amount of traffic. It's not like overwhelming, but it's definitely enough to keep him steady busy. You know, this is the level I yearn for. Is I don't want to be like overwhelmed, but I want to be like steady busy when I'm doing controlling. I don't want to have too many lulls. I like to just keep on doing it. Because the second I start to get a big lull, I start to get bored and I start to contemplate like logging off.
Radio wise?
Cessna 116, I blocked you, say again?
I say, okay, I think you heard me there. So Cessna 116, we might have been having radio problems there for a second. I might have missed a call from you, but it sounds like you're hearing us again.
Yeah, Cessna 116, I've got you. The Deer Valley altimeter is 2995.
2995, 116.
It is nice to listen to other people out there, though. There's something reassuring about hearing other people out there. You know, we're not flying alone in the sky here. Not that I think I can see you anymore, but let's have a look. Eating my dust somewhere right back there.
Albuquerque Center, 1 November Juliet.
My contrails.
GPS working all right now.
I think you're probably too far.
Good direct Carlo.
1 November Juliet, roger.
Can I see you, or am I just seeing things? I thought I saw a little white dot back there. That might be you. That might just be you. Just a little tiny, really, really little dot way back there in the distance. I should do a couple of screenshots here just to have something to look at. How do I do that and then do that? That's how I get to the window. Kind of an odd flickering going on in the window frame there, but otherwise it's a pretty quiet day here. It's not quite centered. It's very, very close, but it is not quite centered. That's the Mean Machine view right there. It's pity the sun's behind us. It doesn't quite capture it as well with the sun behind us. Now it's 15 miles in trail. Oh, there you go. Wonder if that's how much he was looking for. Yep, he's got exactly 15.0 miles right now. You're right. I wonder if that's what he was looking for, was 15 miles instead of 10.
Kirk is on a radio check.
DFW can be such a busy airport that I wouldn't be surprised if 15 miles was the target most of the time.
Sweet. You gonna be on for a little bit tonight?
Maybe an hour more.
Roger that.
Alright, so we're looking at about 90 minutes till we land in DFW. Let's just see if we can find anything else to talk about here. Yeah, I thought that was neat though. Yeah, these guys doing this Oshkosh flying.
Diamond Star 6 Alpha November, you can proceed direct to the Prescott Airport. The altimeter there is 3023.
Direct to press.
I can't remember what I was looking for. I was looking for something. I can't remember what it even was. I cannot recall now. Oh well.
Southwest 1746, radar contact lost.
Radar contact lost, no big deal. Speaking of virtual AirVenture, I saw the post of Abbotsford virtual air show earlier on, back in like 2 weeks. Yeah, that's gonna be coming up very soon, I think. That was a lot of fun last year. I didn't actually see it, but I watched the video after the fact, and it was it's quite well. It's a neat idea, and especially with VATSIM velocity now, you can do a lot more. You can do a lot more with it, but it's just a neat idea. That a neat reason to have a fly-in is to go and actually watch a virtual air show, get these virtual military organizations coming out and showing what they can do. Because a lot of what they do too, you don't get to see what they do a lot of the time. They're practicing whatever in relative isolation. So kind of nice to bring them out and show off what they can do to the community as a whole. So I do like that notion. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I'm struggling a little bit to just find stuff to talk about, just because I have not. I've just basically worked since since my last stream. I have
40 Juliet, your radar contact.
I have not done much besides work since my last stream, so I'm just trying to think what else we can talk about here.
Direct flag staff, maintain 15000 3041 for Juliet.
Twin Cessna 40 Juliet, the Flagstaff weather, wind is calm, 10 miles, fuel at 9,500, temperatures 21, the altimeter is 3041, you can expect the visual approach runway 21.
Visual 21, thanks, 40 Juliet.
Just trying to think what else.
646 Charlie Papa, Albuquerque Center. Good evening, Squawk 0721. Say your position.
Share your funniest moments at VATSIM.
Walker 2319. You can descend via the Coulter 4 arrival. Runway 3 transition.
November 12345, descend and maintain 7000 and lose the 10-4 stuff, please. This isn't the CV. 10-4.
Coulter 4 arrival, runway 3 transition.
Albuquerque ground's online now. Military aircraft mod and MSFS or PCD are kind of bad. I wish there's one. Yeah, I guess, and that's part of the problem, I guess, because DCS World exists.
That's approved. Report back.
They don't. Yeah, I guess because because DCS exists, there isn't necessarily a need to have high-fidelity military aircraft in MSFS, because there's a better platform for them where you can shoot other people and kind of use the military aircraft more the way they're supposed to be used. So, you know, MSFS and VATSIM don't necessarily cater to those people, because there is sort of a better alternative in DCS. If you are interested in flying military aircraft, you do better to go to download DCS and fly DCS. So I guess that's probably why you don't see a lot of people really focus on that. There have been some military airplanes released. I'm not a military aircraft fan. It's not that I don't like military aircraft. It's just I'm a civilian pilot. I like to fly what I know. I like to kind of enjoy what I know. I do enjoy, like, you know, picking up the occasional military plane, but I definitely wouldn't know that the systems and the performance and the handling are very accurate or not. I've played with a few of the Top Gun scenarios here, and they're fun. They're fun. I really haven't, but yeah, I couldn't say, you know, flying those aircraft if their handling and systems are realistic or not at all. I have no basis for comparison. That's for sure. There's some actual traffic on the TCAS air. Looks like he's going by 10 miles off the right wing. 2,500 feet below, 2,600 feet below.
Twin Star 6 Alpha November, descend and maintain 9,200.
9,200.
Spotting airplanes out there is not always easy. I do not see them anywhere.
Diamond Star 6 Alpha November, I forgot if I did it or not, but I'll read you the weather for Prescott. Wind is 210 at 10, 10 miles of visibility, scattered layer of 11,000, temperatures 270, altitude 3023. You can expect visual pressure rate
too far away to really see.
1 month.
He's about 10 miles off, which is pretty tough to see. You gotta have a decent sized airplane to be able to see it from 10 miles away, or some bright lights or something. Black
November, that's not a problem. What
Black Diamond, I think that's how you say it. Black Diamond, welcome to the channel. We are sailing along here. We are on our way to Dallas Fort Worth. We're about
That's 210.
an hour and 20 minutes from landing in Dallas Fort Worth.
Left, I got Narnab, and I got a
Cruising along with Albuquerque Center, and we don't have much going on right now. We got failures turned on. Nothing much has happened yet in this aircraft that I've noticed, unless something's failed and we haven't noticed it yet.
6 off November, you can expect that. Turn
We only have one
10
failure
degrees
currently
to
on this aircraft. We have our APU's MEL, but it's only the APU bleed, so it's even that does not create much of a problem for arrivals. The departure is a little bit of a hectic workload trying to get that all done. But the arrival is pretty straightforward. I do have standard set, right? Yeah, I do have real-time weather because I just noticed that I'm off on altitude from everybody else. So I do have real-time weather still on, right? Live weather still on. It's just that yeah, because my clock is not in real time right now. I've got it backed off by 30 minutes. Or not by 30 minutes, by about 3 hours, just to keep the stream going in daylight. I'm hoping it's still going to be daylight, maybe just sunset as we get to DFW there. That's kind of my goal. There's some beautiful looking canyons down here. There's a road that just winds its way right down that canyon there.
Albuquerque Center, good evening. The wind is 2904 and 8, quick takeoff.
One thing I haven't done lately is I haven't done any of those bush trips either. The Microsoft Flight Simulator bush trips, they are just tons of fun. I did one like about 3 months ago, probably more than 3 months ago. It was probably like 5 months ago. Where the time goes, I don't know. Summer is such a busy time when it's at such a short time. Usually got so much to do between trying to take vacations when the kids are home, and usually I've got at least 1 or 2 construction projects every summer I've got to try and get done. It's always something in summer.
Juliet, turn left heading 1.
The fact that I'm keeping up the stream schedule that I have lately is a bit of a miracle, but it's gonna probably I have a few weeks of vacation this summer. I've got some projects I've got to work on. There's a good chance that the streams will not die out, but they will become a little bit more sporadic throughout the summer, just as we sort of try to get the schedule organized. It's also not going well at work, where my schedule seems to be getting worse month by month, and I've put on reserve for next month.
Juliet, you can proceed direct to the
which means I have even less knowledge about where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be. Makes it even harder to ever schedule a stream. That's why some of these streams, like, they just come up at the last minute. It's hard to know when to schedule these things. It's hard to know when I'm going to have the time.
Approach and direct Prescott Airport, Mooney 1 November Juliet.
I would love to be able to pick a regular time every week and stream at the same time every week. That would be such a
Juliet, you can expect that.
Such a nice way to build up a good steady audience, but it's just never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. So that's why I kind of rely on my Discord to sort of send notes out.
6 arrival, runway 8 transition, the Phoenix altimeter is 2990.
Just kind of keeping an eye on myself here just to see how we're doing here. We're about halfway through the airspace here. We're not doing too badly here. It's nice to have some ATC. I don't think we're going to get any more ATC
Albuquerque.
Go ahead, right, Delta 2257.
After this.
Delta 2257, descend via the Eagle 6 arrival, runway 8 transition.
It's a bit unfortunate, but what can you do?
2990.
You take what you can get. I'm happy to have some en route ATC today, and hopefully we'll get some more the next time. So after this, we only have 2 more legs left of season 7 of A Pilot's Life. We have to go to St. Louis and we have to come back. My hope is to do those 2 legs in
Juliet, descend and maintain
one go, and do a do an entire turn do an entire turn in one stream. It's a bit of a long flight. I think it's about an hour and a half to an hour I think it's not a long flight, but like doing 2 of them back to back, it's gonna get long quickly. I guess it's
Alpha November, turn right heading 040.
it's the best way to say it.
040,
Let's see here. I just want to get an idea. So KDFW to St. Louis, KSTL in the 737-700. I just want to see what the time is. Just to kind of give you an idea. Like, I think we can do it. If we do like a mega, like 4-hour stream, we can go to, we can do the whole turn probably. So it's, yeah, it's showing me just a little under, it's showing me an hour and 50 flight time to get there.
Southwest 132, say altitude.
Probably gonna need about the same to get back, I would think. So
Southwest 132, radar contact, climb via the SID.
yeah, the next one we're looking at, if I can squeeze in a 4-hour stream, 4 to 4.5 hour stream, but we can do both ways in one day. That would then have to be a daytime stream pretty much for sure. I'm not gonna be able to do that in the evening because most of the time I can't start an evening stream until about 9 p.m. So trying to do a 4-hour stream is just not going to happen at that point. But yeah, kind of planning for the future, and then after that we move on to Pilot's Life Chapter 2, where I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be lots of fun. I think I did 1 flight with this last week. I just haven't had the time. It's been non-stop, just work. The second half this month, I had 3 days off, and I don't know where they went. I had 3 days off at the end of last week, and I don't know where that time went. I really don't. It just vanishes like that. Like, you think, oh, 3 days off is a lot of time, and the thing is, like, when you're away from home a lot, there's so much stuff that people take for granted that you end up having to do when you're only on your days off.
Juliet, turn 5 degrees to the left. I just need a little bit more space with some terrain out there.
If you're not home, if you're only home on the weekend and you don't even come home to sleep in your own bed during the week, that's a lot of stuff you can't do. Just like little tiny errands that you can sort of run on my way home. I'm just going to go stop and grab this today, or on my way home I'm going to stop and grab that. Like, you can do like all these things in your evenings. It's like when you're not home for that time, it really just eats up your schedule so quickly. You know, you think it's a great thing to have. Oh, you get 12 days off a month instead of 8. It's like, yeah, but we are the remainder of those days, those work days, you're not home to do anything, not even the littlest task. You can't, you can't go to the store and buy whatever you need. You can't go register your kids for swimming lessons or what. Like, you can't do any of these things. Like, you're working, and like sometimes you're working these 12-hour days. You literally have no time left at the end of the day to even think about doing these other like sort of day-to-day tasks, the homework of life.
Juliet, turn right heading 360, vectors ILS 21 left.
Let alone have a little bit of time for recreation at home. And that's definitely what I've been feeling for the month of June. Oh, there goes my phone. That's definitely what I've been feeling for the month of June. I've been feeling just worn out. I feel like I had a bunch of days off at the beginning of the month, and ever since then, I feel like I've been playing catch up with them. It's been non-stop. I had a wedding to go to, and it was very nice to go to a wedding and spend some time with people for once. But yeah, because I had to set aside those specific days off for that wedding, it really kind of ate up a lot of my days off, and all of a sudden I felt like this rest of the month I was behind the 8 ball. I was just constantly like just counting down the days to go back to work again, because it was like, oh, I have to go back to work in like 2 days or 1 day or whatever. So anywho, it's going to be time to start setting up our arrival here in just a little bit here. We're just a little over an hour away. Maybe it is time to start setting up, start thinking about our arrival into DFW. Get it all briefed up. That way I don't miss a topic drop like I did in my last
American
stream.
2599, reduced to Mach 7.9, and that's for spacing to Dallas. You're no longer number 1.
All right, reducing to Mach 7.9 for American 2599.
Somebody launched off Albuquerque and took your spot.
My mother tells me I'm number 1.
Delta 147, you're leaving airspace to the west. LA is offline.
No reply to that.
Frequency change approved. Have a good night.
Frequency change approved.
Okay.
2.8.
Mach 7.9 is set.
Thank you very much for your services tonight, ATC.
I'm going.
I hope I made somebody laugh anyways. All right, we're now number 2.
Center, good evening.
In the sequence to
on the ground at Chandler, requesting IFR to
yeah.
solo.
And see, the thing is here, the only thing about this is that because these targets are VATSIM targets, but this is my live target, these are delayed, you know, network data from VATSIM. So it looks like I'm really close to this guy when in fact he's got quite a bit more of a lead, I think, on me here. Yeah, he's about 20 miles ahead of me. Yeah, he's got a good solid lead on me. So now we got 3 airplanes in the sequence going to DFW. Nice. All right. So again, yeah, request for DFW here. So the weather is, we got winds out of the northeast, 070 at 11. So yeah, landing north is
King Air 50 Papa, clearance available.
north flow is probably a pretty good, pretty reasonable assumption at this
King
point.
Air 50 Papa, clear to Sholo via
3011.
climb maintain 5,000.
Before I spend too much time setting up, let's do the smart thing. Let's read the NOTAMs first to make sure that I don't, because I feel like there was some stuff going on with 36 left here. So.
Search and Sholo Airport as well. The Lava Zoo 6, Lava Zoo. Maintain 5,000 after takeoff.
28 to
17,000, 10 minutes after. Squawk
0344. Also, 18.
Twin
Sorry,
Cessna
36
40
right
Juliet,
is
turn right
closed.
heading 170, descend
In 20
maintain
minutes.
10,600.
Right turn 170, descend maintain 10,600, 40 Juliet.
RNF
King Air
GPS
50
36 left.
Papa, read back correct, runway 4 left for departure.
Special
advisory
authorization
action.
Cat 2 for 36 left. Okay, that's fine. We're going to special authorization Cat 2. ILS will load.
Twin Star 6 Alpha November,
Straight in
turn
low.
left heading
No,
300.
we're going to do full ILS, straight in low, minimum visibility. No, I don't see anything that affects 36 left ILS Cat
Looney 1
1.
November Juliet, descend and maintain
So I think we're going to be able to do
9,100.
the Cat 1 ILS 36 left without doing a problem. Okay, so let's plan on that. Let's plan on setting up for a Cat 1 ILS to 36 left here in DFW, and then we'll have to also get a gate assignment and all that other good stuff. But one thing at a time here. Okay, come on, open up. There it goes. Alright, so we're on the Jovum for our nav arrival. We'll tag that. We're going to plan an ILS to runway 3
Juliet, start looking for the airport to be about 1 o'clock in the morning.
left.
Yeah, it's
And
on the
then-
other side of the mountain. We'll call it the site, 40 Juliet.
Taxi chart airport info, and we need parking gates. I'm going to go with probably Alpha or Charlie Terminal for American Airlines.
40 Juliet, we have the
40 Juliet, clear visual approach runway
Oh, pardon me.
21 Flagstaff.
Tired. The caffeine, this thing's almost empty, and it's not keeping me going that strongly here. Alright, yeah, turkey, that one there. That looks good. Alright, so let's just get some stuff in here for the ILS. We're going to need 111.9, 356. So let's grab that. So 111.9. 111.9, 111.9, and 356. Whew. Suddenly just feel like I'm starting to get overwhelmed with tiredness here. Gotta keep myself going for one more hour here to get this done.
Twin Star 6 Alpha November, turn left heading 250, join the
One thing I never checked.
localizer.
Yeah, it is track. There we are. It did turn on. I usually check that before we leave, but I did not this time. Okay, so 356. Got that, and the minimums for this approach, we're going to need 788. So let's just make sure we got that set. 788.
Southwest 132, are you back?
There you go, 788 is set, and I think that's everything we need. We'll check the, we'll go through the box here, and we'll check up on our, what am I trying to say here?
Walker 2319, information November is current at Albuquerque. Let me know when you pick that up. You can expect the
Oh,
visual
there it
approach
is.
runway 3.
Just wondering about that. Fuel light. So so the pressure left side is low.
Southwest
Fuel pumps off.
613, ready for departure, runway 8.
40 pounds left in the
runway
tank, so
3.
now we're switching to the main tanks here.
Twin Star 6 Alpha November. Maintain 7,600 until you're established. You're currently about 5
One thing
miles
I'll check
from
before we
Humpty.
get going here onto our arrival
KDAL
briefing
SQ1 left.
is I'm just going to check for a gate for arrival. So just give me a second here, go on the other computer.
Winnie 1 November Juliet, turn right
I
heading
do find FlightAware is one of
030.
those websites. It's surprisingly intense on the processor.
Mooney 1 November Juliet.
Come on.
So Walker 2319, I missed your readback.
It's got some really fancy graphics and stuff, and
information
it
November,
really
visual
quickly
runway 3.
punishes your processor. I found
Roger,
that
information November.
one that you wouldn't
Got
think,
it,
but it
and
does.
runway
It
3 visual.
it's got some pretty heavy scripting going on behind it. So
Southwest 132, are you back?
let's see here.
Southwest,
The latest
613
airplane
is
that
ready for
came
takeoff, runway
to DFW from Burbank arrived 4
Southwest
hours ago.
613,
It went to
wind
gate
2904, runway 8, course takeoff.
Delta 34 in DFW.
Alright, clear
So
for takeoff,
Delta
runway
34.
8.
So where
Southwest
is
613, confirm INAV, I guess it would be
not that
pilot.
one? We're going to need Delta 34 here.
Hey, firm.
Oh, that actually is kind of nice.
Southwest 613,
It's
clear for takeoff,
on the
runway.
site we're arriving at. Delta 34. Right there, Terminal D. So let's tag that one up. So Delta 34. So this is our gate right here that we're going to go to. Which is actually, it's a little bit of a shorter taxi that way. We don't have to go taxi across the bridge. So it actually works well.
The Flagstaff wind is calm, runway 21, quarter wind.
All right. Yeah, so let's go ahead with the arrival briefing here.
Southwest
So
132.
Southwest 132, we're back.
yeah, this guy's
Southwest
climbing up in front of us
132,
now
maintain
somewhere.
Mach 0.80 or greater, and climb maintain flow level 330 for now.
Mach 0.80 greater, and we'll climb maintain flow 330 for now, Southwest 132.
All right.
We're leading the pack to Dallas.
Okay, so for this briefing, oh, you know what we haven't done as well? We have not done a landing speed here. Flaps 30.
TBM 6 Charlie Papa, your core direct to the Tukey intersection, descend and maintain 1
we could probably
3000.
do the
altimeter
performance
39.902.
calculation here. I've gotten into the habit of doing it here now, and I really should. What I really should be doing is bookmarking the stupid thing. All right. No, not that one. Wrong one. Here we are. It's still open from the last time I opened up this file. So, normal landing configuration for a 737-700.
American 2599, reduce to Mach 77, please.
Let's see here. So, flaps 30, which is kind of a normal landing configuration.
American 2599,
Auto
reduce
brake
to
2.
Mach 77.
61,000. And 132.4.
Twin Star 6 Alpha November, runway
Auto brake
21
2s
left.
gives us
Wind is
6190. We're a little bit
210,
above. I mean, we're not 10,000 above. We're more like about 100 above. So 6190, 6290. Altitude adjustment, we're going to be about 100 feet
American
above.
2599, Albuquerque.
Sorry, go ahead for American 2599.
American 2599, reduce to Mach 0.77, please.
Mach 77 for American 2599. All right, 0.77 there.
613 with you, leaving
Just slowing.
7,000.
There's the other fuel pump light there. Let's get that off. All right, back to what we were doing here.
Southwest 613, you're at our contact, climb via the SID.
Yeah, so we're looking at auto brake 2, 6190. We're a little bit above 130,000, so we'll add another 100 feet for that. So 6290. So basically, I'm going to round it to 63 just to keep my math easy. 63. Add another 200 for the fact we're going to be about 1,000 feet above sea level. So we're up to 6,500. I'm not going to make any wind adjustments, slope adjustments. If anything, we're going uphill, so that's fine. We'll just leave it. And temperature adjustments, I think we're still 20 degrees above standard here. We're at 19, so we're at least 10 degrees above standard. Let's add about 300 here. So 63, 65, 67. So we're about 70, we're about 7,000 feet. About 7,000 feet, and then if we had reverse runoffs, we'd have even more. So we're looking at 7,000 feet. We got lots of runway here. We got like 10,000 plus feet available. So yeah, the landing distance is good. All right. back to what I was really doing here, which is the rest of the briefing here. So the speeds are in, the distances are checked. We are going to be doing the Jovem for our nav arrival into Dallas-Fort Worth today. It's plate 60-2 Mike, 10th of August of 2018. It's an RNAV star. We are RNAV capable. Radar is required. RNAV 1 DDR GPS required. Turbojets only for use landing north. That's what we're doing. Arbuckle, disregard. We're not on that transition. So we're going to start our arrival here at Turkey, which is the next fix that we're direct to here. After that, we go to Ganja, Quana, Walter, Glock at 290 knots between 30 and 24. Lehman at 290 knots between 23 and 20. Victory at 280 knots between 18 and 15. Jovem at 270 knots between 15
was your requested final.
and 12. Missile at 250 between 12 and 11. Siler at 220 at 11,000 is the bottom altitude of the star. We go to Kaboom and fuel. Fuel? I don't know. I gotta just call fuel. And after that, we're going to continue straight ahead until we get back to around 4, and ILS to runway 36 left in DFW. This is plate 61-19, effective on the 1st of February of 2018 So the local can be IBXN.
57 information kilos, current at Sky Harbor,
111.9. Let's just see here. 111.9, we do have that. Final approach course 356 is set both sides. The glide slope at Bobbin, 2300, and the ILSDA of 788. That is set. The touchdown zone at 588, so 600. There we go. The MSA is highest south of DFW at 3,600 feet. The missed approach is climbed to 1,100 feet straight ahead, then a climbing left turn to 3,000 on a heading of 315, and outbound on the Cowboy VOR 298 radial to the Kegel intersection and hold. So 1,100, then 315, 298 Kegel hold. Perfect. Let's see here. DME radars required. Simultaneous approach is authorized. VGSI class 5 path, not coincident. It's a 3-degree slope patches on the left MLSR lighting system, and RVR 1800 or 3/8 of a mile is required to shoot this approach. It's supposed to be a beautiful day out here. There are some thunderstorms around, but it looks like they are all shooting well south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so that should not be an issue. If we land in Dallas successfully, it's going to be a right turn to a heading of it's going to be a right turn.
Your VFR altitude is at your discretion. The flagstaff
off the runway. We're going to need about 7,000 feet to stop. It's going to be around Echo 2, Echo 1, which is fine. We're going to cross runway 36 right, which it should be closed. It's normally an active departure runway. It should be closed according to the node times by the time we get there. So we'll plan to cross straight across it. Look to make sure no VATSIM pilots are coming, and then we'll go southbound on Gulf to get to Delta Terminal, and we'll probably go in at like spot. Probably go in at like spot 124 over to Delta 34. Let's see here. So that's it for the taxi, or for the charts. Terrain again is 3,600 to the south of
1 off November. Roger, you can
the airport.
This frequency. Have a good night.
Weather is looks like a nice day overall.
6 off November, sorry.
Yeah, it looks like all the thunderstorms we're talking about have stayed well to the south. There is some convective cloud, but it doesn't look too bad. Operational, I've got no MELs. Or sorry, I do have the APU MEL, APU bleed MEL, but it's not affecting our arrival because we only need the ground power from the APU, or we only need the electrical power from the APU for the arrival, really. So once we get to the gate, we'll make sure the air conditioning gets put on at the gate. And that's it for the MELs. NOTAMs, nothing that seemed to affect 36 left. No NOTAMs fuel to go to our alternate of Houston. I believe we need 7 tons. It was...
Only 1 November Juliet.
Yeah, 7 tons.
Humpty, maintain 7,
right now we're showing 16 tons when we get there, 16,000 pounds anyway, so it's good. We have lots of fuel when we get to DFW, so that is it. Briefing is complete. Any questions?
Turn right heading 350.
And Tim has been busy. Tim. Thank you very much for watching, Tim.
Flight level 30,
yeah.
level 200, Southwest 613.
Alright, we do have random failures on.
Walker 2319, descend and maintain 8,000.
Under 8,000, Walker 2319.
I'm going to bump this up even higher in the hopes that something will fail at some point. 25 events per 10 hours. At some point on this flight, something should fail. Something should give me a little bit of a challenge here. Maybe that'll get me wake me up a little bit too, because it's getting late and I'm getting tired. But we got basically an hour to go till touchdown. Maybe a little bit more now that we are following this guy, and they keep throttling back our speed. Let's see what happens if we let's see. Let's manually. So if I take this off-speed intervention, but then if I put the target speed in manually, there we go. That should recalculate everything to give me a more accurate descent to DFW 16.1. That's going to cost.
Charlie Papa, descend and maintain.
It's going to cost us about 2 minutes, maintaining Mach 0.77 instead of Mach 0.80, which is the plan. Let's see here. This guy is not quite 20 miles ahead of us, by the looks of it. 12 miles ahead of us. I don't see him. Not that I really expect to see him. I don't know what type of aircraft it is. But
Turkey Center will be closing in about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. I think we're going to leave his airspace within that time frame. I think early then.
Turn right heading 020.
Yeah, we're going to be out of his airspace, I think, before he logs off. But nice to have that ATC for the full length there. I don't see anybody logging on in Fort Worth. It's starting to get a little late, so I don't think we're going to probably see too many people. But unfortunately,
Juliet, the wind is 210.
You see Oklahoma City. There's Takeoff controller online, but that's about it. And there's an Austin tower, actually. That's probably why it's so busy down there in Austin. There were so many airplanes on the ground in Austin there.
Flagstaff Airport's 12 o'clock in about 11 miles. Report the field in sight.
We do have field in sight, 116.
Cessna 116, center left downwind.
Let's see how PACX likes me here. Nope, not bad.
It'd be left downwind 21 for 116.
Oh, did nobody get on? Ah! It never finished boarding the flight. The whole thing was messed up because I had to exit the flight and restart. I might as well just close this. It's completely useless because nobody boarded the airplane at the end of the day. Useless. I tried to use it, and then because we had to restart the sim because we were having clipping issues on the screens on the 737, when I reloaded it, it didn't know what to do. It didn't know whether we were boarding or what it was doing. So yeah, it was completely screwed by that reset. Well, what can you do? Why is the heading cell light still on? So if I put this into heading cell, then I put it into LNAV. It clicks into LNAV, but the heading cell light stays on. I don't think that's correct behavior. If that light's on, it means that this mode is either active or at least armed. So I think that might be a bug. I feel like that's a bug in the 737.
Fields at your 12 o'clock and 10 miles.
Are you flying the MSFS 737 as well? Because I'd be curious to see if you're having the same issue. Or if this is just something I'm doing. Yeah, I wonder. Because like I just before the stream, just earlier today, I downloaded the update for the 737 that PMDG. I think they released it last week, but I just haven't flown the airplane since then. Yeah, so I downloaded the update, and like the biggest thing that I noticed, the one difference that I noticed is that these things move much smoother. So the flap before, the animation was very kind of clunky. It would just go clunk, 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 clunk. Now it's kind of very nice and smooth, and it pops in and out. So I'll try to watch it on the flap retraction or even on the extension a little bit, because it was a really. You're on P3D, okay? So yeah, you wouldn't, because I don't think that was an issue in P3D, and I don't think that was an issue before. But I haven't really honestly used heading select all that much. I almost always depart, like, you know, DF.
Papa, I'm not sure if I did it or not, but the weather at Chandler, the wind is variable at 4, 10 miles. Skyler at 15.
Yeah, most of the airports we end up flying to, usually they have RNAV SIDs programmed in. Like DFW's got some straight up RNAV SIDs, so you just take off in LNAV mode, and half the time you never switch out of LNAV mode. So yeah, I'm curious to know if that's new, if that's something I just simply never noticed before, or what the deal with that. Because yeah, like this should not say, and it looks like it's like based on the.
57 descend and maintain 4,000.
based on the enunciators, I mean, it is working correctly. It is tracking the LNAV and it's disarmed the heading select, but this light should have gone off. If I pressed again, it tries to put it back into heading mode again.
Walker 2319, the wind's 2904, runway 3 quarter wind.
Yeah, it seems like it gets stuck on there. It should come off, because if I select it and then select it off again, then I can arm the LNAV and it's gone. But it just seems like if it has the LNAV armed and it's waiting to take away the capture from the heading select, it seems like that light's stuck on. Because I don't think the P3D version does that for you, does it? I mean, you can try it in the P3D version right now, but as I recall, I don't think that was ever an issue. So I think that's something that might be something new that's introduced in the MSFS version, unfortunately. That is the end of my caffeine. We have 1 more hour to go. We will make it with the caffeine that is in my system. It wasn't a super long day today, but it was a tiring day. And I will say this.
Charlie Papa, descend to maintain 4,000.
I have found this since the days I very first started really flying airplanes. Any day I go flying is a very satisfying day. I almost without fail have a very satisfying sleep. I end up quite tired, but I have a very satisfying sleep, and I'm not sure, and I've always wondered if that is more a result of the mental workload that's involved with flying, or if it's just a little bit of the oxygen deprivation going up to high altitudes and breathing a little bit less oxygen in. But I've always found that, like, on days where I've gone flying, I never have a problem sleeping. Almost never have a problem. The only time I ever really have a problem sleeping in such cases is when something that happened that day has really left me stressed out. Whether it be a situation with a passenger, or maybe some kind of a failure that really kind of got my adrenaline pumping, or maybe something I was just unhappy with the way it went, the way it was dealt with. Those are the things that usually keep me up. But in general, if I've gone flying, I find I sleep so much better. There's just something about it. Maybe it's the mental workload that just wears me out. Maybe it's the
2319. Welcome to Albuquerque. Left turn enable. Contact ground point 9.
Maybe it's the oxygen deprivation. Those are my two theories, anyways.
1.9. Thanks for your ATC.
There's all sorts of interesting things you kind of notice after a while too. There's another interesting coincidence that I've noticed that is surprisingly common, and I wonder if there's something with the environment that we're dealing with. But one thing I've noticed is that
Delta 2257 is going to maintain 3,000.
Maybe it's just anecdotal and coincidental, but it seems like most of the pilots I know always end up having girls. It seems to be more of a tendency, like it's,
Juliet, you can,
and I wonder if it's something to do again with what we're exposed to, whether it be the environment, the lack of oxygen, the noise, the terrible scheduling that creates this kind of coincidence. But way more people I know that are pilots have had girls than boys, which is just a strange coincidence, because in the grand scheme of the world, it should be like a 49% to 51% ratio. Like, it should be pretty much more or less even, but it seems like it's just sort of anecdotal. I haven't studied it or anything, but it could just totally be just the people I happen to associate with. It could just be a total coincidence, but it seems to happen a little too much for it to really truly be a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just trying to see patterns where no patterns exist, because that is very much a basic human tendency. We all want to see patterns where no pattern exists. The human brain loves to kind of identify patterns and fit things into patterns.
Turn left heading 130. When you roll out, the field's going to be 10 to 11 o'clock at about 10 miles towards the field site.
Speaking of patterns, that also brought me into something interesting I read a little while ago. I think it was either today or yesterday. Read an interesting piece that sort of questioned whether our thinking is correct about and our societal attitude is correct about people who have dyslexia.
613 Albuquerque, say altitude.
Dyslexia is kind of normally viewed as a mental defect, if you will. Something that is wrong that needs to be detected and overcome. But the people who wrote this paper that I didn't read the paper itself, but I read an article about the paper, were arguing that dyslexia itself is not should not be
hopefully they'll get it fixed at some point where it works for everybody.
Right. Papa, the wind's variable 4, runway 22
it shouldn't be viewed as a disability, but it so often is. It's like, oh, you have dyslexia, okay, you're going to have reading problems. You're going to have, you know, people are very quick to identify what's going to be the problem, what's going to be the fault if you have dyslexia. But the premise they put forward was that dyslexia is so prevalent in human beings that it could be, depending on the society, but it can be as much as 10% of
Southwest 132, you can resume normal speed, and you're leaving my airspace to the east. Fort Worth is offline.
I think we're about to switch over to Unicom.
Change approved. Have a good night.
Resume normal speed from Virginia. Good night, Southwest 132.
American 2550 or 2599, same for you. Resume normal speed, leave my airspace to the east, Fort Worth offline, radar services terminated, frequency change approved. Good night.
Okay, thank you very much for the service, and we'll go over to the en route frequency, American 2599. Good night.
American 1208, same for you. Resume normal speed.
All right, normal speed. I've got him on the TCAS, so we'll keep an eye on him. If it gets too, we get too close, we can cut back again. Does it not let me delete that now? Econ. That's what I'm looking for. That's what we're doing. Econ. Back to Mach 8.0 essentially. Yeah. So the whole premise was that you know, such a large percentage of different demographics has dyslexia. I wanted to say suffers from dyslexia, and again, that is part of the mental conditioning. But to try and get us away from that conditioning. But it's evolved apparently multiple times in human evolution. It's not something that is just one sort of spurious trait, but it's something that has recurred in human evolution. So, ergo, there has got to be some advantage to it, because for this same trait to have reappeared several times in several different societies and become reasonably prevalent, there has to be some sort of evolutionary advantage to it for that gene to have successfully spread through human evolution. So what they have found is that people who suffer from dyslexia, they don't necessarily, their brain does not work in the same pattern as everyone else, and that the structure of language, and especially spelling, is not something that their brain handles particularly well. However, these people are then are generally more are generally better at spatial awareness. They're better problem solvers because they don't think as linearly as other people do. When you read, people who are strong readers tend to be slightly more linear thinkers because they're used to sort of going through a sentence in order and proceeding through the sentence in order. So it's interesting. It certainly begs the question of perspective. Just because they were not able to learn to read in a normal fashion, people who suffer from dyslexia are branded as being mentally disadvantaged somehow. But maybe that is not the way we should be viewing these people. They are differently abled, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are disabled, that they can't be functioning members of society in their own way and learn and think and grow in their own way. It's kind of interesting. Something that, again, like I say, people suffer from dyslexia. That's what I've sort of been mentally trained to say. I want to say people suffer from dyslexia, but it's maybe it's not something that is suffered through. Maybe it's just a different way of thinking, of handling the world around you, which may be different. It may have different advantages as well as disadvantages. So yeah. It's funny, like, how predisposed we are to thinking certain ways, and how hard it is to remove those predispositions, even in the face of overwhelming evidence that our thinking is wrong. It's not easy to change our pattern of thinking like that. We've been trained and bred this way, and that's why we have to be very careful with so much of what we say and do, not to offend people, but to just make sure that we are not branding people right off the bat that because you believe this or because you're this type of person, A, B, and C must be true about you. It's so easy to do that because again the human brain wants to categorize people, but we have to be very careful. We don't do that. You know, I am raising a couple of girls, and it's something that they are going to have to deal with their whole life. Is that the society is still somewhat biased against their gender. It's becoming more normal, more normalized, more equalized, but it's still overall that there's a different set of expectations for girls growing up, and we have to be careful. You have to be very careful what you say because it's very easy to precondition people, girls or boys, to have preconceived notion about what girls should be, and kids take their cues from the adults they learn from. So I really have to be careful and watch my tongue.
Going downwind.
One of the things I resolved early on was to never call my girls princess, because it can be a term that has such negative connotations. It implies it's in Western society it's been taken to imply a helpless person who needs assistance from other people, yeah. So I kind of resolved very early on to never refer to my kids that way, and I think I've been successful in doing that. I found other nicknames for them, but I try to ensure the nicknames are not gender reinforcing, if you will. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of conscious effort sometimes, because I was raised that way for generations. People have been raised to have certain expectations, and you pass on those expectations sometimes without realizing it. Children are so aware of everything you do and say, and whether you like it or not, you're going to have a huge impact on them. So you have to be very careful what you do and say with kids. Do your best to really kind of keep your personal biases away from them, because it's so easy for them to just simply accept those as accept those biases as truth as well, because they just hear it enough times. It's a technique Donald Trump has practiced to no end. Is if you say something often enough, it must become true, regardless of what facts actually say. As long as you repeat it enough times, it must be true. And that, saying things does not necessarily change the fact, but if you do say it enough times, it does start to change people's perceptions of the facts, and people sort of expect things to be true if you say them enough times. So Donald Trump has practiced that enough. He comes up with rude, dirty nicknames for various people, and he just repeats them ad nauseum until everyone just believes them, because he said it so many times, whether or not there's any grain of truth to it. He's been a master at that bullying technique, calling people names enough times until everyone else repeats the same name, or at least believes it on some level. Alright, I think our top of descent point is there. It is. It's just rolling in just past Walter. We're about 90 miles from our top of descent. We're doing pretty good here. Still waiting for something to fail. I have failures turned on. PMDG, what is going on here? I have 25 events per 10 hours. Something additional must have failed by now, you would think. But yet the only failure I have is still the APU failure that I already had going into this. I'm just going to turn it off and turn it back on again, just to see if maybe it needs to be triggered again. I don't know. I feel like something should have happened by now. I like the idea of the service-based failures, and things only happen after a certain number of hours in each part, but at the same time, I think we got enough viewers here. We should be generating some interest. So if you guys have any interest at all, any questions about aviation that you'd like to ask, please do. It's been such a short period of time since my last stream. I'm having a bit of a tough time trying to find topics to talk about. I try and kind of make note of topics throughout my days, but I have done very little besides work these last few days.
Runway at Alpha,
back taxi for...
So that's all I can either talk about is pretty much is work, unless anybody's got any other specific topics. Otherwise, we'll be landing in DFW in about an hour, so if anybody wants to join us, set up a short flight and get ready to land at DFW at the same time as us. It looks like there's a handful of inbounds. Like I said, we got this one guy here. I picked up my speed a little bit. I'm back up to Mach 8.0. Let's just make sure we're not gaining on him too much here. Yeah, we got 16 miles in trail. We got lots of miles in trail right now, so I'm not too worried about catching this guy. We'll keep checking on him. We'll keep an eye on him, but I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna get really that close to him before we get to DFW. Just gonna look and see what else is inbound DFW. It's just 3 of us. That's hilarious. There is nobody else inbound DFW. There's 2 on the ground, 1 departed westbound, and 3 of us inbound. 3. One little wagon train going down to DFW here. Isn't that hilarious? Nobody else is coming, but just us. And who's that ahead of us? He's a Southwest, so I don't even know where Southwest. Southwest doesn't even go to DFW now that I think about it, because they just go to Dallas. They just go to Dallas Love Field. They do not fly to DFW. But that's one airport that surprises me. And actually, there's I don't think there's ever really been a proper high quality model done in either the FSX P3D or the MSFS era for Dallas Love Field. There was one that was being worked on. I remember I watched an interview with, I think it was Bill, what's it, Bill Womack, I think, he's fantastic senior developer. I think he did the Flight Beam Portland, I think. He's done a handful of airports, but he does extremely detailed airports. And he was a while ago, like several years ago, working on Dallas Love Field. Whatever happened to that, I don't know. I don't think there's ever been like a good model of Dallas Love. And such a shame because it's such a huge hub for Southwest. If you like to fly the 737, that's a great airport to fly to because Southwest flies crazy ton of flights in and out of Dallas Love, Houston Hobby, Midway, BWI, I guess, is another big hub for Southwest. But yeah, it's a shame that nobody's ever done a really good high quality model for Dallas Love Field. Let's see if I can. I'm just going to search now and see if I can find any information about it because it's been a long time since that interview was published. I don't think it was ever done. I honestly think it was being made for the P3D era, and it never got finished properly. There is one from a company called Blueprint, but there's a post on the Orbex forum from about a year ago. Apparently he is still working on DAL as of a year ago. And it sort of got like he's working on it after he wraps up 2 more products, but and that was a year ago. And nothing much else has has come out since. So it seems like it's just one of those very slow process airports, I guess. All right, we are on the arrival here. Because we picked up the speed, it looks like our top of descent point got pushed a little further down there. Might be catching up this guy very slowly, but he's in another 737 as well, so he should be able to keep a good pace ahead of us. And I'm just curious to see if you're keeping a pretty consistent pace behind me here. So it looks like you're 19 miles behind me. Southwest is 50 miles ahead. And that's it. Now it's starting to get pretty quiet on VATSIM. There's not too much ATC to the east. Oh, there is still Jacksonville Center. Isn't that ironic that the fake VATSIM Jacksonville Center appears to be better staffed than the real world Jacksonville Center? ALPA ALPA sent a letter to the Secretary of Transportation complaining about Jacksonville Center because apparently it has been understaffed to the point where they had to put in-trail flow restrictions into Jacksonville's airspace 27 out of the last 30 days. So almost every single day, Jacksonville is not have enough staff to run all the sectors, and they have to reduce the amount of airplanes that are flying, or reduce or increase the in-trail spacing, at least between airplanes flying through Jacksonville Center and down into Florida. And Florida, because so much of the flying right now is people going on vacations for the first time in years, Florida is a huge destination, holiday destination that Jacksonville and Miami Center are constantly getting slammed by ridiculous amounts of traffic. And it does not help that Jacksonville is consistently understaffed. I guess it's just not a very glorious, prestigious position, so nobody necessarily bids for it. But somebody's got to work it. Raise the pay till somebody works it. That's the way the U.S. airline is going. Raise the pay till somebody works it. Because I also read today that United Airlines pilots have signed a contract that will give them a 14% pay raise. 14% when the contract is ratified. That is I would love a 14% pay raise. At least they're beating inflation. Like it's amazing that it takes something that high to beat inflation. More than a little bit sad that that's what it takes to beat inflation now. I think it was 14%. I have it right here somewhere. Yeah, no, click on that. Yeah. The union has approved a tentative deal that would give the aviators pay raises of more than 14%, making it the first major U.S. carrier to reach a deal since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, and setting the bar for the rest of the industry. So under the agreement, approved Friday, if it's ratified by the pilot groups, they'll get just over a 14.5% pay increase within the first 18 months. I would like an 18% raise, please. I feel like it's not going to happen. But here's hoping. Maybe we can manage that. Alright, we're going to start down here in about 7 minutes. Good. 7 minutes on top of descent. Love it. Looks like it's still going to be daytime by the time we get there. That's good. Didn't want to... I just don't like flying. It's weird too, because like I know it's nighttime. I think part of the reason why my body's having a little fatigue is like I'm so kind of in this mental model right now of being daytime flying. My brain is getting a little bit jet lagged trying to figure out why I'm looking at such bright outdoors when it should be nighttime. I think my brain starts to get a little jet lagged from this simulator. Like it's such a good simulation, and there's such a good contrast between the bright skies outside and the inside. It can be very easy to convince yourself to get jet lag. I went in the sim last week and started the sim super early, before the sun was up, well before the sun was up. So it was dark when we got there. We did our briefing. We went in the sim. Did our first half, our 2-hour session. Come back out. And the first thing that, like, as soon as you walked out of the simulator, you're like, oh my god, it's daylight outside. And it was just, like, so shocking because, the simulator is such a small focused little world, and you're in there, and you're just like you're living in the moment, just trying to just trying to finish the exercise, and just trying to get through the flight and land the airplane again, finish an engine failure, secure the engine, and land again on single engine. And you're just so focused on that, like your brain is so singularly focused on what's happening there that you don't even the passage of time outside the simulator doesn't even exist. It's such an odd phenomenon. Like you spend 4 hours in the simulator, and you get out and you feel like almost no time at all has passed, because you're so focused on this on the intense tasks that are going on in the simulator. So it was just such a shock to the system to come outside and it's like, oh my gosh, it's daylight. What time is it? Oh yeah, it is. It's like 8 a.m. Okay, yeah, it should be daylight, but it wasn't daylight when we first went in the sim, and so it was just such kind of a weird shock. Little simulator induced jet lag, if you will. Alright, we got 40 miles till our top descent point. Love it. Love it. We're getting there. Start down very soon here. Nothing seems to fail. I don't know what PMDG, what is up? Because I have had this thing set for way more failures than should be happening. I want something random to happen, something I don't know about that's going to happen. I don't want to know about it in advance. I just want something to fail. Something to add a little interest to our flight here, because it looks like all that convective weather is off to the south there in Texas, so it's not affecting our route here. We don't have to make too many decisions based on that. It's definitely some nasty looking weather here, but we are going to be well north of it here in DFW. Austin kind of really got the brunt of it today. Just suffered immensely, but that guy passing us on the DCAS was the one departure from DFW. That's who that is. That was the one departure. What else did I watch? I watched an interesting video today about why the original Roller Coaster Tycoon was such a fantastic game. And I have to admit, like, I loved that game when I was a lot younger. I played that game when I was I can't even remember exactly when it came out. I think I was still a kid when it came out. I might have been a teenager even when it came out, but I enjoyed that game a lot. I thought it was a very fun game. It was a really really well thought out simulation. You know, like, it was a relatively simplistic game with the grid, with the isometric grid. You know, obviously the graphics were not super fantastic. But the one thing that I did not realize at the time that made this game such a fantastic accomplishment is, first of all, it was, with the exception of like some of the artwork designs that were done, Chris Sawyer programmed that game himself. He wrote the entire game pretty much by himself in 2 years. What's really incredible about that game, when you think about one guy writing this game in 2 years, is that he wrote the whole thing in assembly language. He didn't even write it in C or any other higher level language. He wrote the whole thing in assembly language himself in 2 years, which just, it gives me such a respect for him as a game developer to know that he can think and program in assembly, because that's such a low level basic language. To be able to actually do that, just as I'm watching this, it sort of blew my mind. That I always enjoyed the game. I've always thought he was a great game developer. I had no idea that he wrote that entire game in assembly. What a fantastic accomplishment. I mean, there's only probably a handful of people that are that familiar with those low-level programming languages these days to be able to program a whole game from scratch using assembly. But I've liked a lot of his games. He's written a lot of good games over the years. It's funny because games are such big productions. Like, it used to be like so many games were single person productions, or were maybe a handful of, like, you know, key figures making games, and nowadays so many of these games are so expansive that you need teams of hundreds and hundreds of people writing these games. You know, it can be pretty lucrative to be a game designer, but it's very hard to make a name for yourself now as a game designer, because so few people ever Are we at top of descent there? Let's see, brought the, oh yeah, it's looks like bringing the power back, the speed back for the descent. So few games are designed by small teams anymore that it's hard to make a name for yourself as a game designer, especially outside of the actual like game design community. Maybe maybe within the game design community you may be able to make a name for yourself, but to be a household name outside of that community, just from your customers, is very unlikely. So many of these games are so well built. There's a few people I can think of. The guys that have written most of the GTA games, Dan Houser and Sam Houser, I think, the two brothers that have written the scripts for most of the GTA games. They are kind of a little bit infamous in the industry and even outside the industry, but there's really very few people that are that infamous in the gaming industry anymore, because games are just such complex undertakings. Like I said, like teams of literally hundreds of people working on these games nowadays. It's very rare that you find a game that's being written and developed by a single person. It does happen still. There are occasionally you do come with other games, and you will come up against some smaller studios, but so many of these games, the really super high-end games, are just made by such large teams. Individuals are just lost in the shuffle there, which is a bit of a shame, because there are plenty of talented, there's plenty of sort of average game designers out there who work on sort of the day-to-day tasks, but then there's just some of these people that are just savants, just geniuses when it comes to programming and problem solving, but they don't get much respect because their output is just such a part of a much larger deal. Alright, how are we doing spacing on this guy now here? Just keep an eye on this, make sure we don't catch him too much here. Come on, click, click. We're definitely gaining on him a bit. We're down to probably about 12 miles in trail. Now that we're on the star with the regulated speeds, I don't think we're going to catch him too much more. Not unless the winds are way out or something on the forecast here. Between our flight and his flight. How far below us is he? He's also 8,200 feet below us. He's probably doing the slower speed than descending.
Southwest 132 descending with the children for arrival.
He definitely started the descent quite a bit earlier, but now we're starting to catch up to him pretty quickly here for these restrictions. It'll be below 30 here for Glock. No problem on that one. I guess what we should be doing here, since it's already set up here, is a descent checklist. So pressurization system is set for landing 600 feet. Recall. Checked. Nothing. Auto brake. We got level 2. Landing data, we've got VREF of 135 and minimums of 788. And approach briefing is complete. The descent checklist is complete. There we go. Leaving RVSM airspace. Victory. No, I don't think we're going to get any ATC down there in Dallas today. Alright. Now we're only about 10 miles in trail. When's the first speed restriction kick in? Because probably when the speed restrictions kick in. No, Glock 290. Yeah, and we have clicked over to 290. We got Glock 290, so yeah. Probably at this point we should maintain a pretty consistent distance behind him, because he's got to maintain the same speed restrictions as us. So I would imagine at this point forward, for 10 miles of trail, we should hopefully maintain a pretty consistent distance here. I hope. Unless I have grossly misjudged the situation, which is always possible. Cabin temperature seems nice. You know, I never even thought to check these windshield heats the whole rest of this flight. There's a real lag to that sound effect too. Did you notice that? I click it, and then like a second later the sound goes off. Wow. There's something weird going on with the sounds, because the sounds are laggy by like about a second or so there. Yeah. Left side window heat does not seem to want to stay on. I wonder if maybe it is failed. Alright, let's run the checklist for this window heat one more time here. So window heat off. One of the following occurs: an overheat due to a high ambient temperature or a system failure in flight. Window heat switch off. Limit airspeed 250 knots, maximum below 10,000 feet. And pull both windshield air controls. This vents conditioned air to the inside of the windshield for defogging. And that's the end. So if it fails in the air, we're supposed to just flick it off. And let it be, and then turn on the vents. Where are the vents here? Windshield air. Doesn't actually do anything, but I just pull that one. And that's it for the window heat off checklist. Because yeah, it just did not seem to want to work. So we'll snag that, I guess. We'll talk to the maintenance when we get back, because that just did not seem to want to come on all flight. It's still 3 of the 4 are showing on, but this guy's not showing on. So got some stuff to talk to maintenance about when we get there. Still catching up to this guy. He must have. Do we have a strong tailwind? We do not have a strong tailwind. We got 11 knot tailwind, so still catching up to him. Well, we'll keep an eye on him. If we have to, we can extend the downwind. Give him some space to land. I probably didn't have to back the time off by a whole 3 hours, the clock by a whole 3 hours. I just did it 3 hours to keep it even. That doesn't even look like the sun's really quite going down behind us now. It's getting there. Like that. Hold on. Get rid of me. Trying to grab a nice couple of screenshots, get ready for my, not that one, that one, for my next title card. Alright, what's the altimeter there in DFW? It was 3011. And transition said 3011. Down a little bit more to catch it. You're really catching up to this guy here. I wonder if he's an X-plane user and he's throttled for some reason, because we are, yeah, we are catching up to him fast. We're 5 miles of trail now. It's just decreasing the whole way. Well, we're supposed to be 270 at Chauvin and 250 at Missile, 220 at Seiler. May have to do something more to keep behind him. I feel like it's just not quite working here enough. Well, first let's get a little bit of speed break out there, because we're not even keeping the 280 knots we're supposed to be keeping there. So let's get our speed a little closer to the target. Alright, and now it's slowing for 270 at Chauvin. I might slow it right now to 250. Just because we're still seem to be catching this guy very slowly. He's going to pop out in front of me here soon. How far is he below us now? He's 3,600 feet below us, so. Oh, I see him. There he is down there. Hi. I see you. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep our speed reduced here, I think. Make sure we follow in behind him. Yeah, it's a good thing Albuquerque was on it, at least helping us for the first part of the way. You might not be following the speeds, you might be right. That is definitely possible. Alright, we should be starting to see DFW. Is that DFW there? Yeah, no, I think I see some runways. Yeah, no, I think that's it right there. He might also be going straight in for like, whatever that is, 1-3 right. That might also be what he's doing. That would be... He's a little bit... No, he's on target. No, he's above 10,000. No, he's at 10,000 feet now. Missile's supposed to be above 11, so... Either he's not flying the star correctly, or he's going straight in for 1-3 right. But I feel like he's too high to get 1-3 right there. I feel like he's not quite there for 1-3 right, so he's not flying the star very accurately at this point. But it does look like he leveled off now. He's definitely moving up on my horizon here, so he definitely leveled off. Yeah, I don't think he's going for 1-3 right, because he definitely should be descending more by now. Alright, that's 12 descending 11. Alright, we're getting there. Get there before we run out of duty day here and fatigue sets in. We're definitely reaching the outskirts of Dallas now. Easy level at 10,000. Yeah, see, if you're on the star, if you're flying the star, shouldn't even be leveling off into. Shouldn't even be at 10,000 yet, not until at least you pass Seiler. I lost him there. Oh no, there he is. He's right below the horizon, right there. All right, almost there. Whew. I'm definitely feeling it right now. Feeling a little tired. Just land, shut her down. Go to the hotel. I guess if I'm DFW based, I just go home, right? Alright, there's the decel point for the 220 at Seiler, so let's get that in there. Now this guy's starting to gain some distance again, so I don't think he's following the star speeds or the altitudes. All good. Where is he? There he is, right at 12 o'clock. He's just turning now. And as soon as he hit Seiler, he started his descent. There he is. Alright, let's do 6,000 feet in level change and see where that puts us. DFW traffic, American 2599 is left downwind, runway 36 left on the Joven for arrival. Alright, where does that put our 4,000 foot level off? I'm just trying to figure it out here. There it is. going to be 3,000 feet or above. So yeah, that'll work out pretty well. Turn base to final around Hooton. Alright, so if we look down here, aha, this is what I was talking about last time for those of you that were watching the stream. This right here, this little tiny weird little thing right here, this is a runway, or it was. Before they built the DFW airport, this was the location of the Greater Southwest Airport. And this is all that remains of the Greater Southwest Airport. Is there used to be a runway here, I think it's about 8,000 feet. And look, this road right here even used to be that runway. When they first started developing this area, after they shut the airport down, they just simply put curbs up on either side of this road, put some traffic lights in, and this runway became a road. But up here, you can still see a runway and the end of a taxiway, and that's all that's left of the airport that used to be here. This whole area used to be the Greater Southwest Airport before DFW was developed. And that's all that's left. It's just this little tiny bit, and the fact that this whole straight street here, it's probably been paved over once or twice now, but originally it was just a concrete street because it was just that was the old runway. Neat, the stuff you can learn on the internet. All right, this is going to work out just fine. We're going to turn base just right abeam Hooton there. We hit 4,000 just over beam Hooton. It's going to work out just great. Assuming this guy turns base in time. We'll obviously have to extend to make sure we can follow this guy in as well. But oh, we went through 10,000. Let's get lights on. Let's get seat belts on. Actually, got to do a double chime on that. All right, seat belts are on. Lights are on. And approach checklist. Approach checklist altimeters 3011 set and cross-checked. And approach checklist complete. Easy peasy. This guy's hustling down, I think, to stay ahead of us. He did say he was on the star, and I don't think he's made a call since then. I'm curious to know what approach he's planning on doing. He is planning 3-6 left as well. Curiouser and curiouser. Alright, turn base, buddy. Don't go all the way to fuel. Don't make me go all the way to fuel to follow you. Turn base. You can do it. Don't make me follow you. Don't extend your downwind. No.
Forward traffic southwest 132, turning left base runway 36 left, maintaining 210 knots.
Sounds like a good plan. 210 knots. Gonna try and time it to just following 3 miles down. We can put 4,000 in there now. I thought we did put 4,000, put 6,000. Okay, 4,000. Alright, so flaps 1. Flaps 2. And flaps 5. Start getting some drag out there to lose some more altitude. She does not want to lose altitude though. There she goes. Now she's starting to lose altitude again here. Follow him in. Not going to be a jerk and cut him off, so follow him in. DFW traffic, American 2599, turning left base, runway 36 left, traffic in sight. Or at least I had him in sight a minute ago. Where is he? Yep, there he is, right there. How well you can see him because it's pretty small and faint there, but he's right there. See it better across the land there. That's 5 descending 4. Let's go down to 3. Intercept the glide slope. Alright, let's do... let's do... Nope, it already sequenced. I was just going to sequence it. It sequenced itself. Alright, 030 for the intercept. That's 4 descending 3 if I didn't say it. He's out there somewhere. Now he's got about 5 miles on me, so I'm still pretty good. Alright, there's Loke. Glide path is armed. There she is leveling off. Miles final. Do we really need to go to a 17-mile final?
DFW traffic, American 425 on the ground. Anyone landing have the correct QNH?
Nope.
Using 3011 is the last one I got.
Okay, thanks.
Alright, 5 miles in trail's not a problem. Probably just zoom out a little bit to see you on the downwind. There you are. Yeah, you passed us on the downwind. Okay, yeah. Self vectors for the ILS 36 left. We probably did not need to go out this far. Way too far. It's a lot harder to vector from what you see here, though. I am so used to vectoring, having a good radar screen where I have like a good sense of scale and a good sense of motion. It's very hard to get that sense of scale and motion on here.
Southwest 132, about an 8-mile final, 36 left.
Yep. Trucking in for another 3 or 4 miles before you even hit the glide slope. Oh, there he goes. He's starting down. I don't know how well you can see that, but he's right there, just above the runway. Didn't need to go out that far. The downwind, I really didn't. Alright, we're just going to get a couple things here. We're going to get logo light on. And we're going to start getting some panel lighting on because it's starting to get dark. Alright, glide slope's alive. Speed 190.
South 132, port with traffic for final 36 left.
There's glide path, and I've already forgotten. It was so long ago. What was the missed approach altitude? I am too tired for this. 3,000. It is 3,000. Okay, so 3,000 feet is set for the missed approach. Go ahead, gear down. Let's go flaps 10. Flaps 15.
DFW traffic, currently heading to travel a 15-mile final, runway 365.
DFW traffic, American 2599, 5-mile final, 36 left. Got about 4 miles behind the guy in the final, so should be enough time for him to get off the runway. I've got to get myself oriented and ready to go here. Get the gear down, let's fire the speed brakes, let's get the ignition on continuous here. I'm going to clear myself to land because nobody else is going to do it for me. Alright. Let's go flaps 30. 40 for our VREF, and the landing checklist. Landing checklist. Engine start switches are continuous. Speed brake is armed. Landing gear is down 3 green and flaps 30 green light. The landing checklist is complete. Visual. Just put the autopilot on in case we get. Oh, there you go. He's already off. Good. Perfect. Love it. Actually worked out well. I thought it was going to be, I thought it was a little too much, but landing at sunset, it's going to be nice. I like it. Ooh, pretty. Alright, enough of that. Back inside, disengage the autopilot. Landing. Yeah, there's a lag in my audio channel for some reason. I don't know why.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Oh, you stupid son of a bugger. You're gonna float down the runway with oh. What are we doing here? Now we're gonna sink towards the runway. Oh. That was terrible. Spend too much time looking. Got to disarm my auto throttle there. Alright, we got positive decel. It's coming in there slowly. I feel like the brakes are not doing much here either. Alright, we can definitely make this one here. That was further along than I had intended to go, but whatever. Stuff happens. DFW traffic, American 2599 is clear of 36 left, crossing 36 right for terminal Delta.
Southwest 132, crossing 36 right.
DFW traffic, American travel, A5 mile, final 36 left.
Forget to disarm the auto throttle. I got distracted by looking at the prettiness outside the airplane. I shouldn't do that. Yeah, you are
traffic, American 425, taxi 35 left, kilo 8 kilo. Excuse me, a Lima.
Alright, so just get ourselves across this runway, clear left and right. You're definitely lined up with the other runway. Alright, just watch this animation. Look at how much smoother that flap animation is than it used to be. Oh, that's nice now. Alright, lights. Alright, ignition's off continuous, the auto brakes reset. This is taxiway golf here. We're just going to go down golf till we get to Delta 34. Till we get to spot 24, I think it is. 124? To go into gate Delta 34. Alright, auto thrust is disengaged. That was a horrible, horrible landing. It's the worst landing I've done in a while. I really should not have looked away on short final. Should stay focused. Yeah, what are you going to do? Learn not to play with that anymore. She is looking awfully nice on the outside though. Ooh, that one's even nicer there. A nice little dramatic taxiing down the... Oh, that's good. Okay. All is forgotten of my folly with... folly on final. Oh... And Southwest is gone, just like that. He did not wait. At the gate, logged off. Goodbye. Alright, so we're looking for Delta 34. It's one of the gates on the north side of the Delta Concourse here. Nobody's coming, right? No, nobody's coming. Good. Looks like the APU generator's on, so let's get that going. So Delta 34. Which one's Delta 34?
TFW traffic, I'm for trouble, vacate to 36 left, echo 2.
Delta 34, so 30, 31. So corners 30. There it is, I can see that one. Delta 31. 32, 33, 34. It's got to be this one here. And look, the fire truck is parked there conveniently after watching my landing. Oh, that was a terrible landing. That was terrible. Wait a second, that's Delta 34. I must have skipped a number there. Oh, and it's just entirely too late. Alright. Commercials in sight. Taxi light is off. See if I can judge this here. Just from sitting in the flight
DFW
deck.
traffic, American 425, take off, runway 35 left, eastbound departure.
About
DFW.
there, I think. See how that went. Nope, I came up shy. Alright. 2, 3 more feet. Good enough. Alright, that's set. It's off. Fuel's off. Lights are off. Probe heat's off. Hydraulics off. And isolation valve is open if we ever get any air conditioning. And anti-collision lights off. Alright, and I believe we got the shutdown checklist is complete. We can bring the bridge across. It's not going to do us any good here because our PAC-X also bombed on us. But anyways, let's bring that bridge over. Let's do the shutdown checklist. So fuel pumps are off. Probe heat is off. Hydraulic panel is set. Flaps are up. Parking brake is set. Engine start levers are cut off and weather radar is off. Shutdown checklist is complete. We're done. And we can go ahead and dock this sucker here. So let's go ahead and go FSX. Let's get the door. The 1L door. Call for ground services. So we're going to set that. We're going to call for ground power and air. And that's it. And we'll call for the baggage train as well, I guess, here.
DFW traffic, American 425 passing 3,700.
That's it. Ground power's on, so here it
departure
comes.
Eastbound, last call. DFW.
We can go ahead and turn off the APU, turn off the fuel pump, and we are good to go. We'll have to look and see. It still does not want to work. I'm just curious to see if anything failed, because we have 25 failures per 10 hours. Statistically, the odds of something not failing on that flight are pretty low. What am I looking for here? PMDG setup aircraft. Failures. Oh, something did fail. Something did fail, and it was so benign that we didn't even notice it. APU bleed valve. Really? Really? What the heck? What the... Not the failure I was looking for. Anywho. We're here regardless. My pilot's life schedule has cycled through. I've got one more turn left to do. We've got to go to DFW and St. Louis, and that's it. And then we are done season 7 of A Pilot's Life, so that's probably going to be one more stream. If I can find the right day to squeeze that in during the day, get some of you guys to come with me, we will finish off. We'll have the season finale of season 7, and we will start on season 8 with chapter 2 of A Pilot's Life very shortly. So, guys, thank you so much for flying with me tonight. Thank you for sticking with me when it got late. I'm sorry that the failures were a failure again. I just don't know what else to say. If something did fail, it was the exact same failure pretty much. The APU bleed has failed and the APU bleed has failed. So the bleed valve itself has failed. And in combination with that, the APU bleed itself had failed. So it's like, it's APU air. So it's all one linked failure, I guess, now. Alright, so we're going to shut this airplane down here now that we're at the gate. I don't know why the jetway walked away, but the jetway should come back. And we're going to let the mechanics deal with this because, yeah, this airplane has got some serious APU issues. And, yeah, beyond my pay grade to fix them. So we'll let the mechanics deal with it. But in the meantime, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good night. I definitely had fun doing that. That was definitely lots of fun. Where'd you go? There you are. Thank you so much for flying with me, and yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed, but that was tons of fun. Let's do it again soon. Stay tuned to the Discord, stay tuned to the YouTube channel as well, and we'll have hopefully another stream hopefully sometime next week. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you soon.